From Jacobs Field in Cleveland, it's ESPN Sunday Night Baseball. Tonight, the Minnesota Twins and league RBI leader Kirby Puckett take on the first-place Cleveland Indians and .375 hitter Albert Bell. It's the ESPN Sunday Night Game of the Week. This is Jacobs Field in Cleveland, which for 18 straight games this spring was the house of thrills for Cleveland fans.
As a drive deep right, that's going to end it. What a belt way back in the second deck.
Bell with a base hit in the left center field. It'll drop. The one-run scored. Here comes Baerga. Here comes the throw. The Indians win. Unbelievable.
The winning streak is ended, but the team is still on a first-place roll. Friday, Eddie Murray went deep. Then yesterday, it was Albert Bell. And Cleveland has won the first two of this series with the Twins. We are spending our Independence Day holiday right here at Jacobs Field in Cleveland tonight. Sunday Night Baseball featuring the Minnesota Twins and the Cleveland Indians in the American League Central. Look who's on top near that 4th of July landmark. Cleveland by 2 over Chicago. Chicago lost today. They can gain more ground with a victory here tonight. Hello, everyone. I'm John Miller. A happy Independence Day weekend to you wherever you are. And tonight, we're at Jacobs Field for the first time on Sunday Night Baseball. It's not quite the house that Albert Bell built, but maybe one day it will be known that way because Albert is red hot. Tuesday night against Baltimore, a tie ball game last of the 9th inning, and he hits the game-winning home run. Then, Wednesday, they're down by a run against Baltimore. He homers to tie the game. Thursday, a 2-2 tie, 8th inning. And another home run for Albert Bell. And yesterday, for good measure, a home run against the Twins. It wasn't even a game winner. 4 homers in the last 5 games for Bell. And he's hitting .375, Joe Morgan. 24 homers, 70 batted in. He's taking his place among the best in baseball.
Well, he's having a great season, John, but what impresses me most about Albert Bell is if you look at his career, he has continued to improve in every category each year. Now his batting average up around .375. This is the highest ever. I think he has no limits as far as how well he can do.
Yeah, he is something else, but he's got a great supporting cast. Kenny Lofton, the great leadoff man, Carlos Baerga in front of him, and the veteran Eddie Murray behind him.
Well, what the Cleveland Indians tried to do, and I think they accomplished their task, and that was to add some veterans to all the great young players they had. When you put Eddie Murray in the middle of your lineup, that makes it a very stable lineup. They also added Jack Morris and Dennis Martinez to stabilize the pitching staff. So they've done a great job of mixing the veterans with these young stars.
All right, now the Minnesota Twins trying to catch them. And one thing about the Twins, always an outstanding defense. Right now being anchored on the infield by Chuck Knobloch, closing in on the league record for consecutive errorless games. But when you think of the Twins, you also think Kirby Puckett, and what a year he's having atop the league with 74 RBIs.
Well, you talked about Knobloch as, defensively. He's also done very well offensively, and that's the reason that Puckett is driving all these runs. But they have a very good supporting cast. The first 6 hitters tonight, John, are all hitting over 300.
We got plenty of offense here tonight. Cleveland is averaging 6 runs a game and hitting .292, and you know all about the Twins hitters that Joe just mentioned. Twins ace Kevin Tapani will be on the mound from Jacobs Field. Stay with us. ESPN Sunday Night Baseball is brought to you by Budweiser. Beechwood aged for a crisp, clean, classic taste. By MCI, the company that brings you proof positive worldwide. And by Pep Boys. For quality parts, accessories, and service, come to Pep Boys, America's automotive supercenter. Jacobs Field in Cleveland, Sunday Night Baseball on a beautiful night, the night before the 4th of July. Tom Kelly, Minnesota Twins, they need a victory here tonight. Rather potent offense. It's been shut down for 2 days here. And for the Twins, it'll be Chuck Knobloch, then Alex Cole, Kirby Puckett, Kent Hrbek, Shane Mack, Pedro Munoz, Chip Hale, Jeff Rabelais, and Matt Walbeck hitting 9th. And here we go. Jason Grimsley on the mound for Cleveland. The first pitch of the night is a called strike here at Jacobs Field.
And there's Jason Grimsley. Good sinker, a cut fastball, a curveball, and a splitter. He does not throw a slider.
Right to the third baseman, Tomey. And then right into shallow left field off of Tomey.
Well, John, their defense is the real weakness of the Cleveland Indians. When you look at their defense, they're next to last in the league in fielding, and that's their Achilles heel. We'll take a look. First ground ball. This is really a routine ground ball. Pretty big hop. He just misplays it, and that immediately puts the pitcher in the jam.
Here now is Alex Cole, doing a great first half of the year. There's the bunt. Alomar going to have to hurry just in time. Knobloch has been moved over to second. Cole came in there hitting .321. Knobloch also came in hitting .321. And now Kirby Puckett is coming up. He's hitting .319. Kirby Puckett. He's got 12 homers, 22 doubles, a triple, and 74 runs batted in. Julio Franco of the White Sox picked up a run batted in today at Comiskey Park, and the White Sox lost to Milwaukee, and he now is tied for the league lead with Kirby Puckett, each with 74. Kirby closed up stance. Too high for ball one. Now Jason Grimsley is the guy picked up by Cleveland in the spring of '93 as a free agent. He had been with the Phillies, and the Phillies traded him for Curt Schilling to Houston, and then Houston ended up just releasing him. This was a guy who'd been kind of a disappointment. His major league record with the Phillies and with Houston combined was only 5-12. But right now, Joe, they are very impressed with the way he is throwing. He went 7-0 in AAA ball this year when they brought him up. And the one number that really sticks out for me with Grimsley, 34 strikeouts and only 9 walks in his 39 innings this year.
Well, his problem before, John, was that he walked too many hitters. He has straightened himself out, and it has to do with his stride, which we'll get into later in the telecast. But he's shortened his stride a little bit, and he throwing more strikes. But anytime you have a pitcher like Grimsley who has a great arm, sometimes it takes him 2 or 3 teams before he finds himself.
Grimsley, 26 years of age, and there's that curveball that misses. 2 balls, 2 strikes the count. Now Grimsley, this is interesting because he has a chance here finally to establish himself as a big league pitcher with the Cleveland Indians. And maybe it was preordained somehow by fate that would happen. That's a ball outside, and heading for third now is Knobloch, and he'll make it. Because Jason Grimsley was born in Cleveland, Texas, 26 years ago. You didn't even know there was a Cleveland, Texas, did you?
No, even though I'm from Texas. This is a breaking ball, and Alomar goes over, tries to block it. He gets his body in front of it, but it hits the glove first and bounds away from him. And Knobloch easily over to third base.
Now runner at third with 1 away. 3-2 pitch. There's a high drive deep to right center. Going back is Kirby, and that is plenty deep enough. Wayne Kirby grabbing the ball off the bat of Kirby Puckett. And yeah, 75th RBI of the year. Yes, indeed. I'm glad you agree, Joe.
This is a high 3-2 cut fastball, and this is what Puckett does best. He'll go the other way with pitches up and out over the plate. And of course, that's why he's driven in so many runs. You can't drive in everyone with a base hit. You have to have a few sacrifice flies and a few ground outs along the way.
So an unearned run as a result of the error by Walbeck. Here is Kent Hrbek now. Fastball is low. Kent Hrbek, he says this is going to be it for him. That he has not officially declared that he's retiring, but that's what he fully intends to do come the end of the year.
Well, maybe he should have waited until he made up his mind completely, huh?
Just, he said he's made up his mind. It's just he hasn't made it official yet. I said, well, how do you do that? He says, well, I don't know. He's hitting .252, 5 home runs in 163 at-bats.
I played 1 year in the American League, John, and he was one of my favorite players. I didn't get to first base that often, but when I did, I had great conversations with Kent. And just a real nice guy.
Three infielders play to the right side of second base against this pull hitter. Only the third baseman, Tomey, is remaining on the left side. There you see the shortstop. Vizquel almost right behind second. Look where Baerga is, almost over near the first base line. That's just off the outside. Ball 4. Hrbek draws a 2-out walk from Grimsley. And that will bring up Shane Mack.
I want to correct something I said in the open, John. I meant 5 of the first 6 hitters were hitting over 300. I forgot that they were playing Hrbek tonight.
So it was you misled us, but unintentional.
Unintentional.
Yeah, I was shocked.
Yeah, I forgot about Hrbek.
I almost wasn't able to continue with that opening of the telecast when I heard that. Shane Mack hitting .316, 10 home runs, 39 batted in. A strike over the outside. Mack's had a lot of injury problems this year. He opened the year on the disabled list with a bad shoulder. And now I had to miss the first 2 games of this series. He's been hit on the hand, the left hand, twice this week. And the hand is all swollen. Eddie Murray during batting practice came over, saw the hand, and said, "What's that, a boxing glove?" And he's got it beneath that glove. And even there, I mean, it's just all swollen up. And it's got to cause him some pain. 1 ball, 1 strike to Mack. And Murray said, "Well, I'll tell you what, looking at that hand, I think you should take a couple more days off." He says, "I guarantee you, our guy's going to work you inside tonight."
Well, Mack is a very important part of this Twins attack.
That is a foul ball.
When you talk to Terry Crowley, who is the hitting instructor for the Twins, he always raves about Mack and the way that he fits into their lineup. He can hit a number of places for them, and he fits in so well with the way the Twins play baseball.
Shane Mack, 30 RBIs in the last 38 games. He's only played in 49 games, so he's missed 29 games this year, and still has 39 RBIs for the year. High and foul down the right field line. Kirby giving chase. Dave Winfield, by the way, is not in the lineup tonight. Pedro Munoz on deck. He is the DH rather than Winfield. And Winfield, he of the 3,000 hits and the great career, was none too pleased. I mean, he didn't come right out and say that he was upset, but I think he made it clear to both of us, Joe, that he said, "Hey, I just want you to know I feel fine. I'm not injured. I am ready to play. It's a manager's decision, and that's the only reason I'm not in there tonight."
Well, if you're in there, it's the manager's decision too, John. So, you know, Dave wants to play every day, but I'm sure Tom Kelly has his own ideas or reasons for this. He's probably giving Dave a day off because he played yesterday. He get a day off today.
I think guys don't like to have these days off come when it's Sunday night baseball.
Well, I agree, Dave.
That's the split-fingered pitch. Pretty good sinking action anyway, whatever it was. 1 run for the Twins, and Cleveland is coming. Mike Hargrove, he may feel he's on the hot seat. This is the final year of his contract. He's not been able to receive an extension, even though his club leads the majors in runs per game. And look at that batting average. It's actually .292 atop the American League. And 106 home runs. This is a very, very powerful club, needless to say. So Cleveland, with Kenny Lofton in center field, a .360 hitter. Then Vizquel, Baerga, Bell hitting cleanup. Murray, Tomey, and Alomar hitting 7th, Sorrento 8th, and Wayne Kirby is hitting 9th for the Cleveland Indians. And there is Kevin Tapani. The man's going to try and shut them down here tonight. He has lost 3 in a row, however.
Well, Tapani has good stuff, John. We're going to take a look at his pitches. He will throw a 4-seam fastball. He also throws a sinking fastball, the 2-seamer. He throws a slider with 1 finger and the split-fingered fastball. And there's the OK changeup, very similar to the circle change, but some teams call it the OK changeup. It's like you're saying OK with your fingers. And defensively, Knobloch, 85 straight games without an error. The record in the American League is 89, Jerry Adair. So he is closing in on a record. And you contrast that, we talked about the Cleveland Indians defensively. The Minnesota Twins have a very good defense.
Kevin Tapani, he was off to a very slow start this year. And then won 7 in a row. He got hot, and the Twins as a team got hot. And they were hot for a good long while. At one point, the Twins went 28-11, but they have cooled off lately and have lost 11 of their last 15. Here is Kenny Lofton. And around here, Joe, they say Kenny Lofton now has passed Ricky Henderson and is the premier leadoff man in the American League, if not all of baseball. Well, he's aboard. He came into the game hitting .362 with a .433 on-base average, and he has 38 steals.
John, his on-base percentage is something that's very important. Looks like a little slider on the inside part of the plate, and he lines it into center field for a base hit. But if you take a look at most of the on-base averages in this ball game, not very good. But Kenny Lofton has an excellent on-base average, and that's why they have compared him to Ricky Henderson.
Now, Vince Coleman of the Kansas City Royals leads the American League in stolen bases. Coleman's got 43, got one today. Here's Omar Vizquel. They got him for his glove, and look at that average. Vizquel hitting .313.
But because of their defensive weaknesses, Vizquel is probably the most important addition to this ball club, simply because he plays very good defense. And the team has played very well when he has been in the lineup.
It's a sellout crowd here tonight at Jacobs Field. A pitch out. Lofton was not running. And it's a very lively crowd, as you can hear. I've been here most of the week, Joe. This is my 5th game at Jacobs Field this week. And one thing, I mean, after you look at the park and see what a beautiful park it is and a great place to watch a ball game, you're also taken by the fact that these Cleveland fans are loud and raucous. Where are they going?
They actually had a shot at throwing Lofton out on that play.
Walbeck with a low throw, and then Knobloch couldn't handle it on the bounce.
Well, that's an okay jump. You talk about the okay change. That's an okay jump. Not a great jump, and you see the throw is there in time, but it's up in short of the bag, and Knobloch tried to catch it and make the tag all at once. Couldn't do it. Number 39 for Lofton.
So now Vizquel with his team trailing 1-0. We'll try and move him over to third base. 2-0 the count. The lineup this Cleveland Ball Club has. Extremely potent. Baerga is on deck. So they got these 2 300 hitters at the top of the order. Both very handy with the bat. They both run well. Lofton and Vizquel. And then you get to that power. Baerga, Bell, Murray. And after them, Tomey and Manny Ramirez, not even in the lineup tonight. Get 13 homers already. Pickoff by its second. It's the shortstop Rebele covering. Lofton is back.
This is not a good time to steal third base with a left-handed hitter up and no one out. Give Vizquel a chance to move you over. If he doesn't, then you can steal third.
The bunt. That'll get the job done. Barehanded. And the throw by Hale getting Vizquel. Lofton takes third.
Good job of bunting here by Vizquel. You want the third baseman to field the ball because, of course, that leaves the bag vacant, and that'll allow Lofton to get over there. Good bunt. Actually a good play because Vizquel drops it down the line, and Chip Hale has to come in and make the play.
So here is Carlos Baerga. Now, Baerga is hitting .300, 10 homers, 56 batted in. The man behind him, Albert Bell, has 70 RBIs. And the man behind him, Eddie Murray, has 59 RBIs. Interesting defense that the Twins are
are playing here, John. They're playing in on the left side on the shortstop, third baseman. They are both playing in. On the right side, you have Knobloch playing his normal position back, and Hrbek playing in. That's a unique alignment in that the only place he can score is if they hit a ground ball to Knobloch. But if you're going to play everyone else in, that opens up the holes anyway. You might as well play Knobloch in.
Well, that'll keep that runner at third base. And Rebele throws out Baerga. 2 men down. Now here comes Albert Bell. Now, do they do that, Joe? They play the infield that way because of the charts, the way they've seen Baerga hit against them in the past?
Well, being perfectly honest with you, I fault Baerga for that. You have to pull the ball in that situation.
The big ovation for Albert Bell. And why not? I mean, this guy is having one of those superstar years. 375, yeah. I mean, Ken Griffey with his 32 homers chasing the Babe and Roger Maris. He's getting headlines. Frank Thomas is close behind him with 28 homers and hitting in the 360s. But look at what Bell is doing. And that's exactly what we came to Cleveland to do tonight. Albert Bell, 375. 24 homers, 30 doubles on top of that, and 70 batted in. In his last 8 games, 6 homers and 12 RBIs, all right here in this ballpark. And most of them in big moments in the game. We showed you at the top of the telecast Albert Bell with his 2 game-winning home runs against Baltimore earlier this week. Opposite foul, back out of play. 1 ball, 1 strike. That was a fastball from Tapani.
I think what you'll see is Tapani try to throw the slider away and the fastball in. And if he gets ahead in the count, he will try to, get him out with the split finger. But you have to keep a hitter like Bell honest by coming inside with the fastball. Good pitch.
1 ball and 2 strikes now to Albert Bell. Boston over third base, 1 away, or rather 2 away now. The infield and the outfield playing Bell to pull the ball. Wind blowing in from right field tonight. There's that fastball in, but he missed with it. 2-2. It was close.
Tapani is not so concerned about the pitch being a strike. He just wants to make a point with Bell that he will come inside, and that will help open up the outside part of the plate.
Slider down and away. Full count, 3-2. Albert Bell, a perfectionist. Article written about him this week quoted his brother as saying that was one of the problems he had at the big league level, accepting the fact that maybe he wouldn't hit 400 here. A high drive, deep to left, way back there. Gone! He's done it again. Number 25 for Albert Bell.
Wasn't sure that Tapani was going to give him a pitch to hit, and he comes after him with a slider, and Bell just drills it over the left field wall. It's on the inside part of the plate, not exactly where Tapani wanted it.
Now here comes Eddie Murray. Change up.
Eddie Murray is the reason that they pitched to Bell. If you did not have an Eddie Murray hitting behind Bell in that situation, I don't think he would have gotten a pitch to hit, because he has been so hot. He's swinging the bat better than anyone else from the ball club. Why would you pitch to him? And the only reason you do is because Eddie Murray is behind him.
And speaking of hot, Eddie Murray comes on with 32 RBIs in his last 30 games. 282 for the year, 12 homers, and 59 runs batted in. He launched one here Friday night against the Twins. An extraordinary home run to center field. And as they did years ago in Baltimore, where Murray played for so many years, the fans here in Cleveland start to chant Eddie, Eddie. He's become a big favorite here in short order. Eddie Murray now 19th in the all-time list of home run hitters. He moved ahead of Yastrzemski Friday. 1 ball and 2 strikes to Eddie Murray. And for Murray, perhaps the most important category, RBIs. I mean, that's what he's been known for, and he's already up to 15 in the history of baseball in that category. Blew it past him on the inside. Strike 3, and the inning is over. But Albert Bell, Jacobs Field, the house that Bell built. Albert Bell, they've been cheering and paying homage to him ever since he went back out to left field after his 2-run first-inning homer. The man is in the zone right now, as they say. Here is Pedro Munoz taking ball 1 from Jason Grimsley.
In between innings, John, as you mentioned, they were bowing to him and yelling his name, kind of like they do in San Francisco for Barry Bonds in left field. That's his territory.
Base hit for Munoz, who came into the game hitting .313. That's the first hit for the Twins. They got an unearned run in the top of the first. 2-1 Cleveland ahead as we play the second. Now this is the very exclusive Terrace Club restaurant down the left field line. A real interesting addition to this ballpark. The restaurant actually, it hangs out over the lower deck out there. Great idea, unlike anything I've ever seen in a ballpark before. Chip Hale, this could be 2. Grimsley the second one. He's still the first. 2.
You get a shot at a reason why here. I think that Vizquel makes this ball club a good defensive ball club. This is not a good play by Grimsley. Now watch, the throw is behind Vizquel. See, he has to reach back and make the play, but he's a good shortstop and he makes the play.
Omar Vizquel, Gold Glove winner, and trying to help take the Indians to the top. They lead the Central. A win tonight, and they will be 2.5 up on the White Sox, nearing the halfway mark of the season. Here is Jeff Hrbek, just back in the lineup. Shoulder the other day, colliding with a teammate in a pop fly at the Metrodome. Hrbek, he's out of there. They miss his bat. He's hitting .306. Sinker from Nagy misses. 1 ball from Grimsley, rather. Nagy pitched here yesterday.
Pitched well, too.
Like Grimsley, everything he throws gets some kind of movement on it.
Well, he's always had a good arm, but that's why teams keep picking you up. They keep hoping that you can perform well for them. Because what happens, John, to young pitchers, you get different philosophies from different pitching coaches. And you put all those together eventually, and maybe you can become a good pitcher if you have a good arm to start with. You take a little bit of what you learned at one stop, add it to what you learn at the next one, and you can become a good pitcher.
Phil Regan, Cleveland pitching coach. Popped up. Heading for the seats. This will be blown by the wind right back. Get amongst the spectators over there. 3-2 to Hrbek. You know, Phil Regan managed in Caracas in winter ball this past year, and managed against Jason Grimsley, who played for Magallanes down there. And he said in a 7-game series, Magallanes, led by Jason Grimsley, beat his ball club and went to the Caribbean World Series. But he said he knew that Jason Grimsley was a guy who looked like he might be able to help the Indians this year from what he saw down there. 3-2 the count. Coming back to his left. He got him at first. Sorrento pulled it out of the dirt.
Nice play there by Hrbek with a little help from Sorrento.
My good friend, Professor Morgan.
John, George Foster has the best setup of anyone I've ever seen as far as getting his bat started. He starts with his hands here, and he just moves them away. Bell starts with his there, and he moves them to the same spot. There's just a little turn in their shoulders that sets the bat into hitting position. See, nothing but a shoulder turn there for George Foster. Watch Bell, same thing, a shoulder turn, perfect position, does not move your head, doesn't move anything. And the closed stance supplies a lot of power. See, their shoulders are locked in, and that lets them supply a lot of power. No open shoulders for these two hitters. A lot of power from there, from George Foster and Albert Bell. They remind me so much of each other, and when I see Bell hit, I think of Foster. When I see Foster hit, I think of Bell. George Foster hit 52 home runs and won the most valuable player in the National League. Maybe Albert Bell can do the same thing here in the American League.
Jim Thome, the hitter, 23 years of age. They think he's going to be a guy who's going to be a very fine big league hitter. He's hitting .259 right now, 10 home runs, 31 driven in. He hit .332 in AAA ball last year with 102 RBIs. Out of Illinois Central College. Jim Thome, got that old-time look out there. They got the Dick McAuliffe high pat leg look and low stirrups.
I don't know if that helps you hit or not, but it's a different look.
Well, it helps you look like an old-time guy. That's a foul ball to Davey Nelson. Davey's a pretty good base dealer in his time. Very good, working with, among others, Kenny Lofton now. They think Davey had a bug bite. He was the fan of the ball over there. But he had to miss 3 or 4 games this week. His face was all swollen. He'd had an allergic reaction. And they think that he was bitten by some kind of a bug. Good to see him back out there now. Check swing. This is Hale. And he gets Thome. 4-1 away. 2-1 Cleveland ahead. We're in the last of the second inning from Jacobs Field. And this is a standing room area down the left field line. It's open. You can stand and watch the game from there. That's not a bad view. That's sort of like Albert Bell's corner out there. Albert regularly hits home runs out into that area, including the one he hit yesterday. He hit one almost to the back fence there, almost out onto the streets of Cleveland. They got the big bleacher section out there in left field. The wall out there is 19 feet high. Sandy Alomar, the hitter, ball 1. Sandy hitting .251 with 9 homers and 25 driven in. 2-1 Cleveland, last of the second. Into right center field. Puckett can't get it. Cole picks it up. Alomar's going to try for 3. And he won't get a throw, a triple.
I talked to Sandy before the ball game, John. He said he's healthy again, and that's the important thing for him, if he can stay healthy. He gets a good pitch to hit, fastball in the middle of the plate. He finds a gap in right center. Kirby can't quite get there to cut it off. Now, by the time they get the ball back in, Alomar hustling all the way, makes it to third base easily, and he has a triple with 1 down.
And Knobloch just wisely held on to it. Now the Twins are bringing the infield in again. Sorrento, the hitter, the second baseman, Knobloch, the only one who's not quite all the way in. That's ball 1 from Kevin Tapani.
But they're playing the same type of defense they did in the first inning. They're bringing the infield in everywhere, and even Knobloch has moved halfway.
When Baerga was up there in the first, Knobloch stayed all the way back.
I understand this one better than I did the first one. If you're going to play in, you play in. If you're going to play back, you play back.
1 ball, 1 strike to Sorrento. He just finished up a horrendous slump this week. He had gone 7 for 61, but he had a 3-hit game against Baltimore Wednesday and has been hitting well ever since. Tapani turns it over, misses with it, 2-1. You know, Kevin Tapani keeps that ball down. He has only allowed, including Bell's home run tonight, has only given up 5 home runs the whole year in 109 innings.
Sorrento has hit very well against Tapani, so he's going to try to keep the ball down so he can get a ground ball. It's one of the infielders. When you play the infield in, your pitcher has to pitch accordingly. He can't go for the strikeout, so to speak, and try to pitch up because you may get a fly ball. He has to throw a sinker or something that's going down.
Well, of the 5 home runs he's given up, 3 of them have been hit by Cleveland. 2 by Albert Bell, and Baerga hit 1 against him. Got that one up. Base hit. Alomar scores. It is 3-1 Cleveland.
Well, Sorrento gets the job done. It doesn't matter how he gets it, but he gets it done with a base hit. If you had a sacrifice fly, that's just as good. But you could see that Tapani did get the ball up.
Well, Tom Kelly hoping that his ace, Tapani, will give his bullpen some relief tonight, because they've been getting chewed up by this very potent Cleveland offense in this series. They've allowed 15 runs in the first 2 games of the series. Here is Wayne Kirby. Kirby, 270, 3 home runs, 16 driven in. And then tonight is Manny Ramirez. Get some rest. Ramirez plays against a lot of right-handers. See Kirby's numbers. But Kirby's been hitting the ball well lately, so they got him in there tonight. 1 ball and 1 strike to count. 1 out, 1 on, 1 in. Leadoff man Kenny Lofton is on deck. You hear the drum beating out there in the bleachers. John Adams been the drum at home games for the Cleveland Indians since 1973. Popped up. Rebele. And Kirby is the second out of the inning. 2 down, and Kenny Lofton is coming up.
John, Kenny Lofton has 9 home runs so far this season, and in his previous 6 major league and minor league at bats combined, he only had 6 home runs. So now he's hit 9. Do you think it's the ball, or is he just getting stronger?
Well, I talked to him this week about it, and what he said was, he said, hey, I admit I was a guy you could throw a fastball on the inside, knock the bat right out of my hands. Now, as he became a 300 hitter last year, doing a lot of things for this game, he said the one thing he still needed to do, that was ruled a bunt attempt, strike 1. He said he was still weak on the inside, so he concentrated and during the winter on getting quicker on that inside pitch, and he will now try to pull that ball. He had a home run this week against Baltimore that was Walbeck into the bullpen down the right field line. Oh, cheapy. It was a fastball on the inside. 1 ball, 1 strike. Friday, he homered here against Minnesota, and he also pulled that one. Well, not nearly as much as the one earlier this week. That was more out into center field. And that's high. 2-1 to Lofton. Now, you're asking me do I think the ball's juiced?
Well,
what kind of a question is that?
I just wondered if you agreed yet or not. I said it, remember, the opening day.
I don't agree.
Okay, that's what I
said it opening day last year.
Right. And it's been juiced ever since then. And hey, let's add a little more juice to it this year.
Was it juiced in 1930?
Well, they had 11 home runs in a game the other night.
I brought in Baltimore.
Oh, in Baltimore. 11 home runs. They had 7 in San Francisco yesterday.
Well, that's evidence, Joe, not proof.
Oh, yeah.
I've been watching a lot of TV lately. That's evidence, not proof. Try to keep that in mind.
Okay.
2-2 the count to Lofton. So far, you have a lot of circumstantial evidence on your side. Runner going. Ball is fouled away. Back into the press box area. 2-2 the count to Lofton. Cleveland Indians averaging 6 runs per game. Mike Hargrove enjoying that. The Tigers, as you would expect, also up there. And the Yankees. You have to go all the way back to 1936 to find a time when 3 teams for a whole year averaged that many runs a game. Of course, the Yankees that year averaged almost 7 runs a game, which, based on the evidence, probably the ball was juiced. In 36.
In 36.
All those old guys, Gehrig and Ruth, imagine, they were all hitting a juice ball.
Well, I didn't see that, so I can't comment, but I have seen the result the last couple of years.
2-2 the count to Lofton. Check swing. Now this is going to be trouble. Rebele, got to hurry. He holds it. All hands are safe. Sorrento to second.
Speed is a wonderful thing if you're a hitter, and that helps Lofton probably get 10 to 12 hits a year just on check swings like this, because the infield is back now with 2 strikes, and they have a long way to come, and by the time Rebele gets the ball, by the time Hale gets the ball, no chance to throw to first base. Lofton knows it's a hit about halfway down the line, and good smart play by Hale not to throw the ball.
Here is Omar Vizquel. Right down the left field line. Fair. Here comes Sorrento. Here comes the throw from Mack. Swing. Both runners advance to third base. Lofton to second base. Vizquel. 4-1 Cleveland.
We'll take a look at this, and you can see that Mack makes the proper play, keeps the relay down. Vizquel singles to left. Now watch Mack. He charges. He keeps the relay throw down. They should have cut it off and taken Lofton at third base. Lofton was just kind of trotting there. Now watch the throw. Good throw by Mack. It can be cut off there. They should have cut it off. They did not. And Lofton just kind of trotted over to third base. He was hung up between second and third, so they could have taken him if they would have wanted to. But instead, they let Vizquel go to second.
Yeah, I mean,
Lofton to third.
That would have ended the inning. They would have scored, but the inning would have been over. Here is Baerga. Grounded to short his first time. Now the threesome of Baerga, Bell, and Murray has combined for 185 RBIs already. That's the third most productive threesome in the major leagues right now. Single for Vizquel, by the way, and a run batted in. He took second on the throw, as Lofton also took third on the throw. 4-1 Cleveland ahead, and we're only in the second. Now Kevin Tapani, in his last 9 starts, had allowed 3 runs. Let me start over. In his last 9 starts, he's given up more than 3 runs 1 time. He's given up 4 already tonight in the second inning. Obviously, I'm shocked by it. Baerga down on strikes. That's the inning, but it's 4-1 Cleveland. Walbeck, Knobloch, Cole coming up. ESPN Sunday Night Baseball is brought to you by Radio Shack. You've got questions, they've got answers. And by Reebok. And you're looking at downtown Cleveland. That's Jacobs Field, the Terminal Tower, and that beautiful panoramic view of Cleveland as you see Walbeck taking ball 1. That's courtesy of the MetLife blimp Snoopy 2. MetLife's aerial ambassador typically cruises at an altitude of 1,200 feet with a speed of 35 miles per hour. There's ball 2 to Walbeck. It's a new feature. You have Professor Morgan.
Yeah.
I have blimp facts. Matt Walbeck. Ball 3 to Walbeck. Not good news for Jason Grimsley. A hitter batting only .205. Walbeck, a switch hitter. Hitting from his weak side, he's hitting 184 left-handed with a 3-run lead, and Grimsley's behind him 3-0, and he's walked him on 4 pitches. Now Chuck Knobloch, great glove man, and so far he's been an excellent offensively. We asked him about the hitting.
I think I've changed my style of hitting a little bit. My first 3 years I was squatted down and my bat was laid back flat, and this year I'm more upright. My bat's upright, and I'm more of a power position, sort of. I don't really consider myself a power hitter. It's that plus just being patient and waiting for the pitch you can drive rather than just going up there and swinging at anything.
Base hit for Knobloch. First ball swinging. He was safe with an error his first time. Now he's got the single. Walbeck takes second. 2 on, nobody out. Cole coming up, and Puckett right behind him.
Well, one of the things he's talking about, you can use your legs more, and you see him drive through the ball with his legs. When you're squatting down and bending at the knees so much, you really can't swing with your body. You don't get much leg drive. When you stand more upright, obviously you get a little more hip turn, a little more leg drive. And that's what he was talking about, which makes him pull the ball a little bit more than he did in the past. And if he pulls the ball in the corners, you're going to get more doubles than he had in the past.
Here's Alex Cole, sacrifice bunt his first time. Swings away. Cleveland was looking for a bunt there. Third baseman Tomey and first baseman Sorrento were both moving in toward the plate. By the way, Chuck Knobloch, born in Houston, Texas. Went to Texas A&M. His father, Ray, was a minor league pitcher, and his uncle, Ed, was a Texas League outfielder. Slowly to second by Hrbek. Poor throw to Vizquel. Vizquel then tried to throw behind the runner at third, but Walbeck was hanging on. Hrbek really got saved by Vizquel that time, Joe.
Well, we've seen 2 plays on double plays where Vizquel has had to come up with a good catch on a poor throw. Hrbek has 14 errors so far this season, and you can see the throw is low and to the inside. Good play there by Vizquel just to come up with it. We talked about the fact that Knobloch has not made an error this year. Well, Hrbek has made 14 already. And I also talked about the defense of the Cleveland Indians and his starts at third base and second base. They have not played very well defensively this year.
Well, the Twins are down by 3. They got 2 men on, and here is Kirby Puckett. He has an RBI already. Cole is running. Throw to second by Alomar. Out! Perfect throw by Alomar.
Well, this is a rifle shot to second base. Alomar comes up quickly, and he fires a strike right on the money. And Alex Cole is out at second base. He had a pretty good jump. See, that's a good jump by Cole. He's running before the ball's released. Well, that is just a cannon shot there by Alomar. And the tag by Vizquel.
Very close. Now just a runner at third. Puckett right to Hrbek. Takes his time, and just like that, the inning is over. Cole, by the way, with 18 steals. That's only the 5th time that he's been tossed, and Tom Kelly's not so sure. Albert. John Miller and Joe Morgan from Cleveland. And that's the part of the distinctive look of Jacobs Field. Those light standards, unique in all of baseball. They're sort of shaped like Joe Morgan's toothbrush.
No one will ever hit one, I guarantee that. At least in fair territory.
Albert Bell, the hitter. Well, Bell's would be the 3 light standards above the scoreboard out in left field. It's ball 1 to Albert. He hit a home run his first time. Well below the scoreboard complex. Look up there. That Indians up there, surrounded by lights, the big scoreboard complex, the bleachers. And that's the future home of the Cleveland Cavaliers right back there behind the ballpark. The arena here at the Gateway Center. Tapani misses, ball 2. Again, Tapani has only given up 5 home runs his whole year. 3 of them have been hit by Cleveland, and 2 of them by Albert Bell.
John, Albert has a twin brother, Terry, who lives in Louisiana. I talked to his father today. He said Terry was also a baseball player.
Base hit for Albert. Well, he's closing in on 380 now. He was up to 377 with that at bat. And he's 2 for 2 in this game. There's his dad, Albert Sr.
Had a long conversation with him today. And his father's very impressed with what his son is doing. Albert just rips this into left center field.
So just an aggressive swing, isn't it?
I was talking to Albert. He says he's the only one in his entire family that doesn't have a master's degree. In fact, he's going back to college to get one. And
when he does, he'll be the only guy hitting 379 in his class.
Well, he already has a master's degree in hitting.
Yeah.
Masters is just higher education.
Eddie Murray, base hit, left center field, heading for the wall. Bell to third. Newman waving him home. Here comes the throw. He is out.
He dropped the ball.
The catcher dropped the ball. That's Drew Coble, the first base umpire. And Newman comes down the line, the third base coach. Here comes Hargrove. After the play was made. Now he's called safe. Plate umpire Cedarstrom informing Coble that the ball had been dropped, and he changed the call. So Bell is safe, and there's got to be an error against Walbeck on that play.
Yeah, that will take an RBI away from Eddie Murray and make the run unearned at this point. Murray finds a gap in left center field. Good relay by Alex Cole. He fires back in. And Robles comes up, fires to the plate, and he throws it a little bit up the line. And here's, well, the ball, he never had the ball. See, he never caught the ball. He should have never been called out. He never caught the ball. Now watch, the ball is not caught by Walbeck.
Now, I'd hate to be the umpire in that spot, Joe. I've just called a man out on national television who was tagged by an empty glove. There's ball 1-2, and that's the man who corrected the call, Gary Cedarstrom. He was over to make a call at third base, and the first base umpire, Drew Coble, had rotated to home, and it was his call at the plate. Here is Tomey.
What I see is they're trying to change the scoring so that it says that it's an RB double, an RBI, and no error. But if the umpire calls the base runner out, then there has to be an error.
Well, they called it double, RBI, no error on Walbeck, error on Coble.
Well, the umpire can't get an error.
There's a changeup, and Tomey misses it. 5-1 is the score now. So Murray getting credit for his 60th RBI. But isn't that a little different that had he tagged him and then dropped it?
Well, but
they got to call the error, but he never picked it up.
Well, the umpire did not say that, though. I mean, he may have confused it with him tagging him and dropping the ball.
But since he got sort of overruled by his fellow umpire, they take Cedarstrom's version as being the correct version, meaning that he never was called out.
But he was called out.
What do you think of that reasoning?
Well, I'm not going to try to figure it out. But if you call a guy out, there has to be an error. It's just the umpire shouldn't have called him out. It's like a play at second base. If you steal a base and the guy calls you out and the ball is dropped, it's still an error.
Tomey down on strikes. That's one away.
And secondly, John, the throw beat the guy to the plate.
Somebody should have been charged.
It should have been an error. Right.
Yeah.
The throw beat him. You give him an error for dropping the ball, or you give him an error for tagging him and then dropping the ball. Either way, the throw beat him, so the runner should have been out.
Here's Sandy Alomar. He tripled his first time. 5-1 the score. Cleveland ahead. We're only in the third inning. Alomar, 1-for-1. His triple, his first triple of the year. Become a tough place to play for an out-of-town team. Jacobs Field. Fielded cleanly by Revela. He throws out Alomar with Murray moving to third base. Now let's go to Steve Levy.
John, thanks very much. We're keeping our eyes on one other big league game tonight. MCI, proof positive, takes us to the ballpark in Arlington for the Rangers and the Tigers. Bottom of the third, Odabe McDowell at the plate, the crack of the bat. Off of Tim Belcher, Odabe's first big league home run since September of 1990. It's now 2-0 in favor of the Rangers. John and Joe.
Odabe McDowell, as Bob Shepard says, one of those euphonious names. Deep center, Cole just let it go over his head. Misjudged it. Coming in to score is Murray. And Sorrento is into second. It is 6-1 Cleveland. Cole was just kind of drifting back like he had it all the way, and then it went sailing way over his head.
Well, we've talked about the defense of the Twins being good and the defense of Cleveland not so good. But we're seeing the Minnesota Twins make mistakes here. Alex Cole got a good jump on it, and then I guess he just realized, John, that he couldn't catch up with it. And it goes as a double for Sorrento.
Here now is Kirby. And Tom Kelly is coming out of the dugout. We cannot see into the visitors' bullpen here. But Kelly has signaled down to the bullpen. And there you see Mark Guthrie has been warming up, a left-hander. So Guthrie is going to get the call here to face Wayne Kirby, or perhaps Manny Ramirez. We'll see. 6-1 Cleveland. Will be back. Part of the terrain here at Cleveland Stadium is the picnic area out beyond the center field area, featuring a statue of Bob Feller, all-time great Cleveland pitcher, Rapid Robert, one of the great hard-throwing pitchers of all time. And from the blimp, you see the location of the Bob Feller statue, the picnic area, and then the ballpark itself. That picnic area, by the way, is open every afternoon on weekdays. People come and have lunch out there, whether there's a game that night or not. And they can also come out and have their meal before a ball game out there. A lot of trees, they're called Davy trees, that you see just to the right of the bullpen there. Picnic tables, and they call it the Davy picnic area because of those trees out there. Here is the new pitcher, Mark Guthrie, for the Twins. 4-1, but with a 7.17 ERA, mostly used as a reliever. The batter is Wayne Kirby. He stays in the game, takes a strike.
John, the Twins could have been out of this inning without any run scoring if they would have handled all the chances properly. Bell should have been out at the plate for out number 1. He struck out Tomey, and Alomar grounded out. So there should have been 3 outs with no run scored. Yet they've scored 2 already, and they still have a runner in scoring position. So the defense of the Minnesota Twins have let them down this inning as well.
One man on, that's Sorrento at second base, and the Twins really have self-destructed in this inning. Fastball misses. 2-1 to Kirby. Now, one of the weaknesses for the Twins this year with this great lineup, amazingly, with Albert Bell sitting in the middle of the lineup, has been left-handed pitching. They have been very susceptible to getting beaten by left-handers.
Well, when you switch Eddie Murray over to the right side, he hasn't hit well. You switch Baerga over, neither one of them have hit well, and that's the middle of your lineup.
And of course, Lofton is a left-handed hitter, a key man. Tone him down a bit. He's on deck here. But in games started against them by left-handers this year, their record is 8-14. Against right-handed starters, they are 38-16. Ball 4, so Guthrie comes in from the bullpen and walks the left-handed hitter, Kirby, who rarely faces left-handed pitching, and that will bring up Kenny Lofton, who is 2 for 2 in this one.
Well, Lofton hit in the first inning, he hit in the second inning, now he's going to bat here again in the third inning.
He led off the first inning with a single to center, stole second, and then scored on Bell's home run. In the second inning, he reached on a check swing roller to the left side that he beat out. That has lifted his average to 367. Ball 1. Guthrie not getting that breaking stuff over. Frank Thomas is hitting 377 at the end of action today. But he has now been passed in the league, at least for the moment, by Albert Bell. Albert Bell leads the league in hitting at the moment, 379. And Lofton is third. Bell first, Frank Thomas second, and then Kenny Lofton third in batting average. Ken Griffey did not homer today. 32 homers. He leads the league in that category. Frank Thomas, 29, is second, and Albert Bell now at 25. Third in the league in that category. Bell is fourth in runs batted in. Lofton, of course, his job is to get on base and score runs. And he is second in the league in that category. 74 runs scored now for Lofton. They have a lot of weapons on this club. 2 on, 2 out. And Guthrie has walked another one. The bases are loaded. Here's Dick Such, the pitching coach. Cleveland threatening to just pound them into submission here in only the 3rd inning. Guthrie has not yet thrown a strike. Tomorrow, Independence Day, the 4th of July. The world champion Blue Jays really struggling. Walt Monitor and Company facing Brian McRae and the Kansas City Royals. That's at 7:30 Eastern, 4:30 Pacific, kicking off our holiday doubleheader on ESPN. Then Moises Alou and the Montreal Expos. They're in a great battle with Atlanta. And then Mike Piazza and the Dodgers, who are first in the National League West. They'll go at it. That game will be joined in progress right after the Blue Jays and the Royals, and the Expos and the Dodgers. Tomorrow night, don't miss it right here on ESPN. Vizquel, a switch hitter, bats right-handed now. He's striking. He's another one, Joe. You mentioned Baerga and Murray being weaker as right-handed hitters this year, and Vizquel also, he's hitting 100 points lower right-handed than left-handed. Guthrie has finally thrown a strike after walking the first 2 hitters he faced. Vizquel 1 for 1 tonight to the sacrifice. Did he swing? An appeal is made, and Drew Coble denies their appeal. Vizquel is the 8th batter of the inning. 2 runs are in, 3 men are on, and Cleveland is already leading this game 6-1. A relentless Cleveland offense. The slider misses. 2-1. The base runner, Sorrento, who doubled, is at 3rd base. Kirby, who walked, at 2nd. And Lofton, who walked, is at 1st. Cleveland with 9 hits already. 3-1. Well, now he's walking the guys that he's supposed to be able to get out. Coming up is Baerga, then Bell, then Murray. He can't walk them all.
Well, that's the problem. He has to throw a strike sooner or later.
Easy play for Shane Mack. And just like that, the inning is ended. 3 men left, 6-1. It'll be Hrbek, Mack, and Munoz coming up for Minnesota when we return. Dan Hrbek leads off for Minnesota. Here we go to the 4th inning. Jason Grimsley staked to a 5-run lead as Kent Hrbek bats. Hrbek walked his first time. Grimsley's walked a couple already. Been a little bit wilder than usual. 1 ball and 1 strike now. Shane Mack on deck, and then Pedro Munoz. The Twins are down 6-1, but at least have a long way to go yet in this game to try and catch up. Base hit. They were playing Hrbek so far over toward first that Hrbek hit it right through that vacated spot of the diamond there. Right now, let's go to Steve Levy for an update.
All right, John, in our last visit to the ballpark, Texas led Detroit 2-0 in the bottom of the 3rd. This is still the bottom of the 3rd. Ivan Rodriguez to the right field corner for a double. That would score Dean Palmer. Tim Belcher still in there. 5-0. They're in the 4th.
The Rangers in first, the American League West. Shane Mack chasing that slider. Now, Jim Thome just came racing in and made sure that that ball stayed foul, Joe. And Shane Mack was not running.
Well, Shane knew it was going foul.
Well, I mean, it was foul, and maybe might have rolled back fair. And Thome was acting like he'd got to make sure it stayed foul. Maybe he and Mack are buddies. Didn't want Shane to look bad. Oh, there's that big breaking ball. 0-2 the count. Munoz on deck. 6-1, Cleveland ahead. For this Cleveland club. So the pitcher should have to pay them to have this offense behind it.
Well, the offense, but not necessarily the defense, although they played pretty well so far tonight. Although the first run of the ball game was tainted as well. Error on Thome at 3rd base.
Dennis Martinez, 39 years of age. The opening day pitcher here at Jacobs Field. And Dennis, 6-4. Giving him a lot of innings as well. Leads the staff. Innings pitched.
The one problem they were having was their closer. As you take a look at Jack Marsh, they were having problems closing out the game. You see Jack Marsh most wins for active pitchers. They got Jeff Russell from the Boston Red Sox to be their closer.
Slider misses. Well, in Grimsley's most recent start, Tuesday night, he went to the ninth inning against Baltimore, ahead 8-3. Give up a single and a home run. They get the bullpen up. It was 8-5, and gave up 2 more singles before they finally went to get it. So little confidence did Hargrove had in his bullpen. And eventually, Baltimore tied that game in the ninth inning. They were down 8-3, and they tied the game. And Grimsley didn't get his win. Now, the start before that, Grimsley had gone 8 innings against Detroit and left ahead 5-1. They handed the ball to the bullpen to start the ninth inning. And the bullpen gave up 6 runs, and they lost that game. Those are Grimsley's last 2 starts. Tommy, it'll go down the right field line. Hrbek to third, and into second is Shane Mack. So don't head anywhere just yet. We're only in the 4th inning, and the Twins have something going here in the 4th inning.
Well, this is a difficult play for Tommy. The first play of the ball game was an easy play. This is a difficult play with 2 outs. He has to really charge from a deep position. He comes up with it. His throw to first base is offline. This, you see, no chance for Sorrento to come up with it, and it is scored as a hit and an error. Even though you could see that a good throw would have clearly had Mack at first base, but it was a difficult play.
Here is Pedro Munoz. He singled his first time. Munoz, in a game earlier this year, drove in 7 runs against Detroit. Minnesota has had 2 games this year where they scored 21 runs. Into center field. That's going to fall. Base hit. Coming in to score is Hrbek. Mack goes to third. Munoz is 2 for 2. And he picks up his 25th RBI of the year. 6-2 for Cleveland. Long way to go in this one yet. We're in the 4th inning. Chip Hale is coming up now. One thing, Joe, with Grimsley, talking about his last 2 starts, how they took him out, you know, to keep him from overexerting himself in the one, and the bullpen blew it. Then they kept him in the last one, only to see the bullpen blow it anyway. But he threw over about 125 pitches in that game, and had not thrown more than 95 or so in any other game. I mean, there you run that risk, right? The next start, maybe you don't bounce back quite as quickly.
Well, it depends on, you know, the individual. I'm not such a stickler about number of pitches thrown in a ball game. It depends on what stress they're under when they make those throws. There's a balk call.
A balk, and Mack will score, and Munoz will go to second.
And this is not pretty.
Phil Regan will go out and try and calm Jason Grimsley down here. 6-3 the score. Runner at second, and nobody out. There's Phil Regan.
Phil Regan pitched for the Dodgers for a long period of time. He was a closer. But take a look at this in regular motion. You can see him start and then stop and then start again. Once you start your motion, you have to continue or step off the rubber.
Clearly a balk. Chip Hale now the runner at second base, and nobody out. 6-3. Phil Regan, 1966, was very disappointed that he did not make the Dodgers starting rotation. They put him in the bullpen, and he went 14-1 in the bullpen and became the closer. They went on and won the World Series. Or went to the World Series anyway. Popped up by Hale. Tommy. And there is finally one away, and the fans give a sarcastic cheer to Tommy who's made a couple of errors tonight.
Well, that was a good pitch by Grimsley to get the out on the left side. If he would have let Chip Hale pull the ball on the ground and move the run over to third base and the fly ball, the Twins are right back in it. So good pitch there by Grimsley.
Jeff Rebele comes up. He grounded a second his first time. 1966, by the way, when Regan went 14-1 with the Dodgers were swept in the World Series by the Baltimore Orioles. Sandy Koufax's last year. Ball one. And it is 2-0 now to Rebele. Remember, Rebele is hitting .303. Twins are hitting .283 as a team. They've got 6 300 hitters in their lineup tonight. The fastball is high. So you're watching the jugs gun here, the various speeds of the pitches by Grimsley. And the sinker is low. Now that's 3 walks already for Grimsley, a man who had walked 9 in 39 innings. 4. Now he's walked 3 in 3 1/3 innings, and you see Regan on the phone to the bullpen. And that's Jerry DePoto out there taking the jacket off. Number 45. He's a right-hander. Here is Matt Walbeck.
Well, Jason Grimsley seems to have lost all of his rhythm. He can't find the release point that he had early in the ball game. He seems to be searching again out there.
Popped up foul. This will come back into the crowd on the third base side. And there is a crowd here tonight. And with a sellout here.
We talked about, you know, his stride. He seems to be striding the same place. I've been watching that these first 3 innings, and he seems to be stepping in the same spot, but he has lost his rhythm and his release point.
Matt Walbeck picked up from the Cubs organization. All the way off to the left. Walbeck came over in the trade that sent Willie Banks to the Chicago Cubs. They let Brian Harper go. He's now with Milwaukee. Walbeck, they like him as a receiver, but he is only hitting .205. He walked his first time up tonight. 2 on, 1 out. It is 6-3 Cleveland. 2 runs in. Fouled it back. Off-speed delivery. Walbeck is a switch hitter. He's hit .302 batting right-handed, but rarely bats right-handed. Northern California originally. Curveball into right field. Kirby, he's got it.
Kirby thought there were 2 outs, and there's only that makes the second.
Yeah. 2 outs now, Wayne.
Yeah. Wayne thought the inning was over. That's only the second out this inning, Wayne. Maybe it's Sunday Night Baseball that this happens on. Here's a fly ball to right field. Now watch Kirby. He comes in and catches the ball. He thinks that that's the 3rd out, but it is not. Luckily, he didn't throw it to a fan like Larry Walker did, but I told you it happens quite often. Players forget how many outs there are. I'm sure Larry Walker's watching somewhere and said, see, I'm not the only one that does that.
Here's Chuck Knobloch now. He's been safe in an error by Tomey, and he is single. 1 for 2 with a run scored. 2 on, 2 out. Look out. 1 ball and no strikes to Knobloch, hitting .322 right at the moment. Well, this would be a big spot for the Twins if Knobloch, one of their top hitters, can get another run home here. I mean, they are right back in the ball game, still early in the game. Knobloch has 43 RBIs this year. That's a strike. 1-1. 43 RBIs, that's pretty good for a guy hitting leadoff.
Well, it is in some cases, John. There you see what he's hit. That makes it good because what he's done with runners in scoring position. But in the American League, because you do not have a pitcher hitting in a nice spot, really a leadoff hitter sometimes is like a second place hitter.
They've got some guys getting on base low in the order. He's going to get some RBI chances. And Knobloch has made the most of his, even though he's only hit 4 home runs. Remember, he has 35 doubles. He's got a shot, if he continues at that pace, the all-time record for doubles. The team record is only 45. The Major League record, 67. That's a foul out of play. It's the fastest pitch of the inning. Earl Webb, 1931, set the Major League record with 67 doubles. You see Knobloch, if he continues at the same pace the whole year, would end up with 73. So he's got the pace to go after the record. He's got to stay healthy, and he's got to keep finding those gaps. 2-2, 2 on, 2 out. Yeah, it's got a piece of that. 2-2. The runners, Munoz at second, and Rebele is over at first. 6-3 Cleveland. The big noisy crowd kind of quiet right now, knowing that the hometown heroes are in jeopardy of giving away this big lead. Hanging tough there against some tough pitches from Grimsley.
Well, Grimsley's made a couple of poor pitches, I think. The breaking balls, both have been inside. That one stayed way inside, made it a difficult pitch for Knobloch to fight off. But the pitch before was a breaking ball that broke over the inside part of the plate. And that's not where you want to throw the breaking ball. He was trying to throw it away, but both times he's gotten it inside.
Grimsley working hard in this inning. This will be his 30th pitch of this inning. Knobloch makes him wait, backs away. Munoz and Rebele, they'll be off and running at the crack of the bat. 2 down in the 4th inning. Alex Cole would be next. In the dirt, the runner from second base, Munoz, will advance. Rebele held on at first.
Well, Jason Grimsley tries to get this breaking ball away, and he bounces it. Good job of blocking it by Sandy Alomar, but good heads-up base running by Munoz to get over to third base. See, Alomar blocks it, bounces out in front of him, and Munoz goes right away. And it's not a bad play by the runner at first base, simply because you do not know for sure that the runner from second is going to go, and you can't force him off the bag.
3-2 now to Knobloch. Cole on deck, a left-handed hitter. First and third, 2 down. There goes Rebele. Tomey bobbles it. Got it. And I think Tomey wants him not to hit the ball to him anymore. Baerga, Bell, and Murray coming up. Jacobs Field, not the only new structure on the landscape at Cleveland. That's the Society Tower to the left and the BP building on the right. Part of the changing skyline of downtown Cleveland. We are in Jacobs Field, a jewel and what is called the gateway to the city of Cleveland. It certainly has changed dramatically baseball in Cleveland. Here is Baerga taking a strike from Guthrie. Baerga has grounded a short and struck out. He'll be followed by Albert Bell, currently the leading hitter in the American League, and then Eddie Murray.
It has not been a good game. It has not been a good game for Baerga. He has come to bat his first couple of times up with runners in scoring position. He has not been able to deliver them.
He had a runner in third in the first inning, grounded out, struck out in the second with runners at second and third.
And he also got some other bad news today. He was not included in the American League All-Star reserves. He was not included on that list of reserves that was released today.
Albert Bell, his teammate, will be part of the American League All-Star team, as will Kenny Lofton. Lofton, both heading to the All-Star game for the Cleveland Indians. There's Kenny.
And from Minnesota, Knobloch makes it as the backup to Roberto Alomar.
And of course, Kirby Puckett was elected to the All-Star team. Again, he was the MVP in the All-Star game last year at Camden Yards in Baltimore. Hit a home run.
And the double.
Into left center field. Baerga going to get extra bases. Cole will play it off the wall. Baerga with a double. His 24th double of the year. And here comes Albert Bell. Albert already with a home run back in the first inning. That was his 25th home run of the year. He singled his last time, and Bell is now hitting .379. He leads the American League just ahead of Frank Thomas. I mean, what talent these young players. Ken Griffey, Frank Thomas, Albert Bell. Check swing. Hugging the line. Foul. Guthrie grabbed it the moment it crossed that line.
John, you mentioned the three players, Griffey, Thomas, and Bell. All three of them have statistics that would maybe qualify them for a chance to win the Triple Crown, if not for the other.
Yeah.
You have Bell, you know, and Thomas fighting it out for their batting average. You have Ken Griffey Jr. and Bell and Thomas fighting out for the home run crown, and they're all in the RBI race.
Well, and I mean, Griffey's hitting .330, 32 homers, 66 batted in. Thomas .377, 29 homers, and 64 batted in. And Albert Bell .379, 25 homers, 72 batted in. He actually has more RBIs and a higher slugging percentage than the other two. Did he swing? Yes, he did. In the dirt. 0-2. Albert looking a little over anxious here against the lefty.
That's what happens to a lot of right-handed hitters against left-handed pitchers. They get a little over anxious and they swing at pitches out of the strike zone. You can see a left-hander's ball naturally moves away from the right-handed hitter.
Well, it's done well even with 2 strikes on him this year. I guess that's why he's hitting .379.
I was going to say, John, hitting .379, you're hitting with 1 strike, 2 strikes, doesn't matter. You're getting base hits under all circumstances.
Nobody out. Baerga at second. See the concentration of Albert Bell up there. He's a very intense performer and a perfectionist, but he keeps a book. I mean, not just in his head, but he keeps literally a book and updates it every night after every game on every pitcher that he faces. Base hit. Baerga's being waved home. Shane Mack's throw. Cut off. They've got Bell hung up. Knobloch tags him out. Well, they took your advice, Joe. The last time they let the throw go through. This time, the third baseman Hale cut it off, and they hung Albert Bell out to dry. But Bell with his 3rd straight hit, his 73rd RBI.
Well, Bell doesn't get all of this ball. He breaks his bat, but he's so strong. You see, he's fooled a little bit. He kind of hits it with one hand, but he's very strong, and he pulls it in the hole to left field. Baerga had to hold up originally. Now he comes round third. He's really not running yet. Now they decide to send him, so he turns it up a notch. Mack makes a good throw. It's on target. It was not going to be in time, so they cut it off and take Bell. So you have to give Shane Mack credit. He's hit the cutoff man both times, and they finally tag Bell out.
Single run batted in, out 7-5-4. Here's Eddie Murray. 0-1. Murray hitting .283 now. He has struck out and he's doubled home a run. 60 runs batted in. You know, the man that just ahead of Murray now on the all-time RBI list is Hannes Wagner. Now, do you think maybe 70 years from now Eddie Murray's baseball card will be worth
No.
a couple of $100,000?
I don't believe so.
I mean, Hannes Wagner, legendary figure in baseball from the early days of the century. Knobloch throws out Murray on number 2. By the way, Albert Bell has now lifted his average to 381. And he's only 1 RBI behind Kirby Puckett. So those are 2 of the Triple Crown categories. But he is still 7 home runs behind Griffey and 4 behind Frank Thomas, which is not to say that he won't catch either or both of them. 1969, 25 years ago, at the All-Star break, Reggie Jackson had 37 home runs. And of course they had all the Ruth and Maris charts out, and Reggie was way ahead of both of them. And Reggie finished that year 3rd in the American League in home runs. Had 37 at the break, only hit 10 after the break. Reggie has said, as Jim Thome has a count of 1-1. Reggie has said he was so young at that time, he was like 22, 23 years old, that the intense media pressure got to him. Broken bat, Cole, and that's the inning. We're heading to the 5th inning. Cole will be leading it off, then Kirby Puckett and Kent Hrbek will be back. Miller and Joe Morgan, Sunday night baseball from Cleveland, which is suddenly starting to look like the baseball capital of the universe, Joe. Sellouts every night, beautiful new ballpark, great crowds. I mean, big crowds, but also excited fans. Loud and raucous, just the way you like it. And as I look at this beautiful new Jacobs Field, about beyond the picnic area. Alex Cole, the hitter. Albert Bell giving chase, but the ball is back in amongst the spectators. And led by Albert Bell is Cleveland Club, and with the ballpark getting a lot of notoriety. Albert Bell is on the cover this week of the Sporting News, also of Baseball Weekly, and also a very lengthy article featuring the Cleveland Indians in Sports Illustrated this week.
Well, John, the old ballpark here was called a mistake by the lake, and this one is called Jake by the lake. A little different. Jacob Field, of course. This one is affectionately called that, I should say.
Alex Cole right up the middle, base hit, and Kirby Puckett is coming up. 7-3, Cleveland ahead. We're only in the 5th inning. Alex Cole now 1 for 2. That's the view from the MetLife blimp. This is not a symmetrical ballpark, by the way, as you can see. And they say the ball really flies on most nights right out to right field from that right center field alleyway. From that 375 marker to the corner at 325, the ball jumps. Fairly friendly dimensions at left center, 370. But they say the ball does not carry well to that part of the ballpark. Kirby Puckett, the hitter. Kirby 0 for 1 with a sacrifice fly. And he is leading the league, tied with Franco in RBIs now, but only 1 ahead of Albert Bell and Jose Canseco. Canseco is playing for Texas right now down at the ballpark in Arlington, the other new ballpark in the American League. Kirby takes ball 2. 2-0. Kirby Puckett hitting .318. Kirby said he loves this ballpark. He said he loves this one and the Camden Yards in Baltimore. And he says he sees the ball well. But he says he loves the atmosphere. The big crowds. He says it's a great baseball park. Hammer deep to left center field. It'll bounce up against the scoreboard. Being waved home is Cole. He's got great speed. He will score. A stand-up double for Kirby Puckett. And it is 7-4 for Cleveland. Kirby with his 75th RBI of the year. And back ahead in the RBI column in the league.
Well, John, the Minnesota Twins have had their leadoff hitter on every inning, and you can't continue to win like that. Kirby Puckett takes his fastball, it's about belt high and inside, and he finds a gap in left center field. See Kenny Lofton trying to run it down, but he can't get there. And by the time he gets it back in, Cole has scored easily. Puckett's at second base.
And the Cleveland bullpen gets busy again as Kent Hrbek takes ball 1. Hrbek has walked, and he has singled. out. A run is in. Sinker is low. 2-0 to Hrbek. There's Jerry DePoto. Up again. He's gotten up during the 4th inning. Now Phil Regan, the pitching coach, will walk slowly out to the mound to speak to Jason Grimsley. Nobody out. A run in. Puckett at second in the 5th. Coming up a week from tomorrow, Monday, July the 11th, join ESPN for a full night of All-Star coverage. First at 7:30 Eastern, it's the All-Star Gala live from Pittsburgh. Then at 9 p.m., baseball's greatest sluggers go head-to-head in a battle of power in the Gatorade Home Run Derby. Then at 10:30 Eastern, Reggie Jackson, Bob Gibson, and many more Hall of Famers will star in the Upper Deck Heroes of Baseball game. That's all next Monday night, a week from tomorrow on ESPN. You'll be there for all of that, won't you?
Well, I'll be there. I can't participate in the game, but I'll be there watching. I'm there for the Home Run Derby.
Is Kent Hrbek, and ball 3 inside. Shane Mack on deck. I remember last year that Home Run Derby at Camden Yards was something special.
Yes, they asked me to join them this year, John, but I told them I have to pass.
Reggie Jackson was a coach for that home run contest last year when they had the movie stars and Michael Jordan. Those guys came out, and then the fans demanded that Reggie come out, and he launched one over the right field wall and round to the bases. They chanted Reggie. Hrbek down the right field line. This one will go to the wall. Coming in to score is Puckett. Hrbek heading for second, and he has a stand-up double. Back-to-back doubles by Puckett and Hrbek, just like old times for the Twins and their fans. And it is 7-5 for Cleveland.
Well, with a 2-0 pitch, you have to come in, and he does, and Hrbek rips it into the corner. Now, if we get a chance, we'll watch Hrbek. He was really not running very well. He's had a hamstring injury. Watch when he slows up there. He kind of drags his left leg there.
That's all for Jason Grimsley. He does not finish the 5th inning. He cannot win. DePoto coming in. 7-5 Minnesota. Shane Mack will be coming up. Sunday night baseball from Cleveland. We got a wild one going. Cleveland 7, Minnesota 5. We're only in the top of the 5th inning. From Jacobs Field in Cleveland, and Jerry DePoto has come on in relief of Jason Grimsley. DePoto has not worked in more than a week. He went 2 innings, gave up 2 runs and 4 hits against the Yankees 8 days ago. That's the only big league outing for DePoto this year. He has had more important things going on in his life. Had to battle cancer. He inherits the runner, Kent Hrbek, over at second base. Nobody out. Shane Mack, the hitter. Fastball up and in.
This is an interesting situation. If you are Tom Kelly, do you want Shane Mack to go the other way, move Hrbek over to third with less than 2 outs, or do you want to try to drive him in or maybe get an extra base hit himself? Those are the decisions that managers have to make. Do you want to try to get the 1 run and get right back in this ball game, or do you want to try to get a few and go ahead? Mack takes the shot to right field on that.
1-1 to count. Jerry DePoto had a cancerous thyroid gland, and during spring training, after they found out what it was, they removed that surgically. Pitch inside. 2-1 to Mack. He went on the disabled list then until June the 12th, when he, after all of the treatments and the radiation therapy and the like, much less recovering from the surgery, he was able to start pitching again in the minor leagues, and was just brought back about 8 days ago to the big leagues. That's low. Now, he's an important man. He's a young pitcher, but he at times was the Cleveland closer last year. But Hargrove has said that he just didn't feel he could use him in that role right now, because he's still trying to build himself up. It's still almost like spring training for him. Fastball very high, and Shane Mack has drawn a walk. Still nobody out, 2 men on. Jerry DePoto, 26 years of age, from Jersey City, to Virginia Commonwealth University. That's the view of Jacobs Field from the MetLife Blimp, which travels over 60,000 miles a year to cover sporting events and television specials across the land. Tonight, Snoopy 2 is teamed up with Sunday Night Baseball to bring you the panoramic view of Jacobs Field. There's the view from out in the upper deck in right field. See the whole ballpark from there. The batter is Munoz. They were expecting he might be bunting, but he was swinging away. Munoz is 2 for 2 with a run batted in. Well, that's the way on the road, Joe, right? I mean,
well, they have not been able to read Tom Kelly's mind all evening because they are thinking bunt on 2 other occasions, and neither time has it worked. When you're on the road, normally you play to, for big innings. You do not play to tie a ball game. And Munoz has swung the bat well tonight anyway.
Sitting 322 for the year. Base handed to left field. Hrbek will be held at third. Albert Bell tosses in to Tomey, and the bases are loaded. Munoz is 3 for 3.
Hrbek, not a good base runner because of his hamstring. There's a high fastball, and he rips it into left field, but no chance for Hrbek to score. As you see, he really starts to struggle after he runs a ways on that hamstring. It takes a while for it to tire out on him, but once it does, he has to slow down.
This is Chip Hale. He's 0 for 2. Bases loaded. 7 to 5. Cleveland ahead. Nobody out. The middle infield double play depth. A strike over the outside. I think, talking about Tom Kelly and his thinking in this game, Joe, I think Kelly just figures we got to go out and get 10, 11 runs to have a shot to win this game. What good is getting a tie going to do us here? They're going to score more. 1 ball, 1 strike. I think he's right.
Well, I don't think that he should be playing for a tie, especially in the 5th inning. And you have to give your hitters a chance to score runs. Like you say, they have a good team batting average as well. They can put some numbers on the board.
It's just medium out there. Hrbek tagging. He's coming. Lofton's throw. And it's not held by Alomar. Hrbek then waving the other runners to move up. 7 to 6 the score.
And that's surprising that Shane Mack did not move up as the ball got away from Walbeck at the plate. I mean, it's Alomar at the plate. Good play by Lofton. Watch these, getting himself into position so that he can make the throw. And he makes a good, strong, accurate throw. It's on line so that it can be cut off. You always make sure you hit the cutoff man, and he does so. And the ball, Hrbek gets there just before the ball does. And as I mentioned, the ball rolls away. You can see Rebele yelling for everyone else to move up, but they do not. Here's Hrbek going full speed, and he gets there just a split second before the ball does.
I think the ball actually then kind of hit Hrbek's leg. And,
right.
Alomar never touched it. Well, Jason Grimsley, who had a 6-1 lead in this game and then could not finish the 5th inning. That run was charged to him. He ends up giving up 6 runs in this game. 5 earned in 4 innings. Now with 1 away, it is 7-6 Cleveland, and Jeff Rebele takes a strike. He is 0 for 1 with a walk. More bullpen activity meanwhile for Cleveland. Sacrifice fly for Hale and a run batted in on that last play. Now let's see if they get 2 here. He's killed the second one. Bayana to first. And they get out of the inning and are still leading. Alomar coming up. 7-6. You're watching Sunday Night Baseball on ESPN now in its 5th season of bringing you Major League Baseball every Sunday night all through the baseball season. This is John Miller with Joe Morgan. We got a wild one going here at Jacobs Field. 7-6. Cleveland ahead last of the 5th inning. Mark Guthrie to Sandy Alomar. There's a strike. Sorrento and Kirby will follow here in the 5th. Alomar has tripled and he has grounded a short. 0 for 2. 7 runs, 11 hits for Cleveland, 2 errors, 6 runs, 9 hits for Minnesota. Now a ball and a strike to Alomar. Cleveland had 3 games here with Baltimore during the week. They lost 7-6. They won 9-8, and then they lost 7-6 again. They had 2 games with the Yankees last weekend. And they lost one 11-6, and they lost the other 12-11. So this is not an unusual game for this ballpark this week. Out of play, a foul ball. 2-2.
I read an article from Jim Abbott, and he said all the new ballparks are built with offense in mind, meaning that this is an offensive-minded ballpark as well, and that you're going to see a lot of runs scored in those new ballparks. They're scoring runs every place.
But that's part of the reason. I mean, the new parks, by and large, very fine hitters ballparks. The Camden Yards Park certainly is. This one is.
Well, they're building them like the old parks, so to speak. So the older ballparks were hitters' ballparks. They were smaller.
This is Puckett. And there is one away. Another ball game going tonight. Let's check in now with Steve Levy for an update.
All right, John, from one new ballpark to the other. The ballpark in Arlington, Rangers and Tigers. All Texas early on, it was 5-0. Detroit trying to get back into it. They're half of the sixth. Mickey Tettleton, the RBI single on the 3-2 pitch with 2 outs. 5-3 now at the bottom of the sixth.
Kevin Kennedy, the Rangers kind of let a great opportunity go by with the other teams doing so poorly at the start of the year. There's a high drive deep down the right field line by Sorrento. Just a matter of fair or foul. It is foul. Boy, a majestic clout down the right field side, much like a guy named Larry Doby used to hit him. But foul.
Well, this is kind of similar to the home run swing that Sorrento had a couple of nights ago when he won the ball game, but this one is foul.
Way back. He won a game earlier here this year with a home run into the second deck in right field. That's pretty good shot to reach the second deck out there. 0-2 to Sorrento. Very high. 1-2. Talking about Larry Doby. They retired his number here tonight. In the ceremony before the game, my partner, Joe Morgan, was part of the ceremony.
And, John, it was quite an honor for me to be a part of the ceremony.
Confusion out there. Finally, Rebela gave way and Mack took charge, and Sorrento retired out number 2.
They had some of the old Negro League players, former teammates of his, here for the action tonight. And there you see Bill Veeck, who signed him in 1947. And a lot of people may not remember this, but he was only 11 weeks behind Jackie Robinson. He was the first Afro-American to be in the American League right after Jackie Robinson broke the color barrier in the National League. And there's his number, Larry Doby, number 14.
Kirby right to Knobloch, and just like that, the inning has ended. More on Larry Doby later, but right now we go to the 6th inning, 7-6, Cleveland. We got a wild ball game going here, as you can see. And Tom Kelly, the manager of the Minnesota Twins, talked about some of the problems this year with defense and pitching.
I really believe there's a level of pitchers that pitch now that can pitch out of some trouble if somebody makes a bad play. They can get out of it. And then there's a group of pitchers. We have some in our ball club, and other teams do also. And a number of managers that I've talked with have commented on this, that pitchers just can't stop a bad play. If a bad play happens, a walk, there's going to be 2 or 3 runs scored that inning.
Well, that's certainly been something we've seen tonight, Joe. Walbeck, the hitter, and Sorrento will take care of it. Walbeck is 0 for 2.
Well, what he was talking about, John, is that if you make an error behind most of the pitchers, he was very polite there. There are very few pitchers who can pitch out of jams now. And your average major league pitcher now, if you make any mistakes behind him, it costs him runs. And tonight we have seen Jim Thome make a couple of errors at third base, and that was really the downfall of Jason Grimsley. But as he mentioned, the Indians are not alone in that respect. Most teams are that way.
Chuck Knobloch, the leadoff batter. He was safe on a Tommy error in the first inning that led to the first Twins run.
And that's not to single out Jim Thome, because a lot of players make errors, over the course of the year. For that matter, we talked about Baerga. He already has 14. Now Jim Thome has 13 errors.
0-1 to Knobloch. He's 1 for 3 for the game. Ball 1.
But John, I've said all along, the way you rate a pitcher is how he gets out of trouble, how he closes the floodgates if things go wrong behind him. Does he limit the amount of runs scored against him, or does he open the floodgates? And most of the pitchers nowadays, when a mistake is made, they give up 3 or 4 runs.
Vizquel. Number 2. Well, Knobloch led off the game in the first inning against starter Jason Grimsley with what looked like a routine ground ball to third.
This one he just misses. This is a tougher play because it is scored a hit and an error, because Shane Mack hit it, but you can see a good throw would have had him, but he threw it away, and Mack ended up at second, and the runner on first ended up at third.
And that ended up being a 2-run rally.
Yes.
Alex Cole, 2 down, nobody on. Check swing foul. 1-1. Cole is 1 for 2 with a sacrifice. He scored a run, hitting .322. This ex-Colorado Rocky found a home with the Twins. He's kind of helped change their style of play. Well, it did not work out tonight. He got thrown out trying to steal in the third, but he's added speed to this club. And Minnesota is running much more aggressively than at any time since Tom Kelly took over as manager. They have stolen 67 bases, and they've been thrown out 17 times. Well, a routine inning for Jerry DiPoto. The pitcher's starting to take charge in this one, perhaps. Top of the order coming for Cleveland. Lofton, Vizquel, and Baerga, maybe Bell. 7-6, Cleveland. I'm John Miller along with Joe Morgan here at Jacobs Field, Cleveland. A wild ball game going. Before the game, they retired Larry Doby's number, and he was the first black man ever to play in the American League, just a few weeks after Jackie Robinson, but sort of unremembered for that feat. He endured all of the same hardships as did Jackie Robinson, and then went on to forge an outstanding career, Joe.
Well, he was a great player, and they retired his number before the ball game tonight, and I think that was great. But when you look at what Larry Doby accomplished, I mean, he had a great career here in Cleveland. He was in the World Series in '48. He led the league in RBIs once, if I remember correctly. He's had a great career here in Cleveland.
Larry Doby. Special night for him. And back in 1948, Larry Doby won Game 4 in the World Series. This home run against the Boston Braves' Johnny Sane proved to be the winning run. Here's a bunt by Kenny Lofton. Swing! His 3rd hit of the game, his 2nd infield hit. And he's been aboard 4 straight times.
Well, this is a great bunt by Lofton right down the line, and Guthrie kind of falls off toward the third baseline, so it's a long way for him to have to travel to make the play. And with the speed of Lofton, he really didn't have a shot. Good play there by Hrbek to keep the ball from going down the right field line.
Kenny Lofton, he's got a lot of different ways to come after you. Now Vizquel, the hitter. Talking about Larry Doby hit that home run in Game 4 of the '48 series, and they won that game 2-1 by virtue of his home run, and he made his teammate Steve Gromek the winning pitcher in that game. And Lofton back to the bag at first, and he says that his greatest memory of all of that time, that first period of years, is the picture of he and Gromek embracing in the clubhouse after that victory. And he says simply to show people that baseball has proven that we can get along as people.
And it also showed that he was being accepted by his teammates. When he was first introduced in the clubhouse that year, he was taken around by the manager, and some of the players wouldn't shake his hand.
Vizquel, and he takes a strike. Well, he, for many years, that go to spring training in Tucson, and he was not allowed to stay in their hotel. until 1954. That's the first year that he went to spring training and could room in the same hotel with his teammates. That's foul. Of course, other African-American players endured some of those same obstacles through the years. This was Johnny Say, 1948, and Larry Doby hitting it out of the ballpark at Municipal Stadium. Huge crowd at that game, better than 80,000. That won that game 2-1. Larry Doby, his number retired, along with Bob Feller, Earl Averill, some of the great Cleveland players from years past. Lofton back to the bag at first. Joe Garagiola, I saw comments he was quoted in the Cleveland papers this weekend, Joe, saying he thinks that Larry Doby should be in the Hall of Fame for his contributions. I mean, he says his numbers alone would merit putting in there, but all things considered, he thinks he belongs at the Hall of Fame in Cooperstown. Vizquel pops it up. Knobloch grabs it, so Vizquel is now 1 for 3 with a run batted in.
Well, one of the things that Bill Veeck has said about Larry Doby is that we didn't get a chance to see the real Larry Doby because of all the pressure that he was under, playing under, you know, the cloak of the fact his teammates didn't support him all the time. He said we never had a chance to see how good a player he really was. But I think that's true of Jackie Robinson as well. They had to hold a lot of things in while they were playing the game. And baseball is a game where you already have enough on your mind without thinking about things outside the white lines.
Here's Carlos Baerga. He's grounded to short, struck out, and doubled. Lofton, the runner at first. And remember, he is second in the league in stolen bases, second in the major leagues in stolen bases with 39.
Well, what we see from Guthrie is that when he goes to first base, he has the high leg kick. When he comes to the plate, he's using the slide step, which is very good at holding runners at first base. They can't get a good jump if you just step toward the plate.
Foul out of play by Baerga, hitting 300.
That was the example of the slide step. He just steps toward the plate like he's playing catch with the catcher. You do not have time to run because he doesn't kick his leg up. Kick, which kind of freezes Kenny Lofton at first base, and then he just kind of steps toward the plate. When a pitcher can do that, it's almost impossible for you to get a good jump. Doesn't mean you can't steal the base, but you can't get the great jump that you're used to.
And so in effect, Guthrie's doing a good job at,
yes, he is,
at holding him on. Now he kicks the leg and throws home. Well, he's really playing with his mind now.
Exactly. When you kick up like that, he obviously thought he was coming to first base, and he did not.
He was going right back to the bag on this pitch to the plate.
The toughest pitchers to steal off of are the ones that have more than one delivery to the plate, more than one move to first base. That makes it difficult to read, for you to read them. But if they only have one move to first and one to home, really it should be very simple to read them. But Guthrie is mixing it up very well here.
Throw over there again. Now, after that last high leg kick and pitch home, which was the first time in the sequence he did that, then, and Lofton had gone right back to the bag as the pitch was going home. Davey Nelson, the coach, a fine base dealer in his time, he went over to counsel Lofton. 1 ball, 1 strike to Baerga. Albert Bell on deck. There's that slide step again. 2-1.
I wish I knew what Davey Nelson was telling him if he has a theory on that. It is very difficult to do, to steal a base. If all the left-handed pitchers in the league would do the same thing that Guthrie's doing, it would be almost impossible to steal a base. But remember now, when you change your motion, you also change your rhythm to the plate. You also change your pitching, your patterns. You change everything.
High drive to left. Going back is Mack. He's got room. Number 2.
Sometimes you can win the war by keeping Lofton at first base, but you lose the battle when Baerga or Bell hits it out of the ballpark.
Well, Albert Bell being introduced. He's had a home run tonight. He's had 3 hits tonight. He is the league's leading batter right now at .381. Well, maybe it's not the house that Albert built, Jacobs Field, but right now he owns it. The house that Albert owned. 3 infielders move over to the left side of second. Only Hrbek remains on the right side. On the bag with Lofton at first. 2 down. 7-6 Cleveland. The Minnesota bullpen is busy, by the way.
Sometimes
Bell takes ball 1.
John, sometimes you do things to play with a hitter's mind. They have not done this certain, until now, because Bell is hot. He's swinging the bat very well. You want him to think about something else. Should I take a shot at right field, or should I continue to swing the bat the way I have been? Just give him something else to think about. And watching his motion, he is not thinking about right field.
2-0 the count. There's one of the 3 infielders. Hale, the third baseman, Rebele, the shortstop, and Knobloch, the second baseman, all over there. And then Hrbek right on the bag at first, so they've given him the right side.
They're saying here, take a single, is what they're saying.
3-0. Well, now, Eddie Murray's on deck, Joe. He's only hitting .220. He's a right-handed hitter. I fool around with Albert here.
Well, like I said, they're trying to bait him into hitting a single to right field. They don't mind that. They just do not want him to hit another ball into the seats. But you do not walk a lot of hitters to get to Eddie Murray, even if he is not hitting that well from the right side.
Well, he swung away in 3-0. Fouled it off. 3-1 now. Well, they did that the other night. They pitched around Albert Bell in a tight spot in the game with Murray coming up. I mean, they didn't walk him intentionally, but they didn't pitch to him either. And then Murray came up with the game tied and batting right-handed, knocked a single to bring home the go-ahead run. And he's been doing that for a long time. Albert is in the zone right now. Lofton back to the bag at first. Chance at Lofton to run here with a 3-1 count, Joe?
If I was the manager, you would not. That doesn't mean that it's right or wrong. It just means that's my philosophy, is to let your big guy hit. He's got the pitcher where he wants him on a 3-1 count.
3-2.
That was interesting. He was taking 3-1. I think he felt like he swung at a bad pitch 3-0, and he wasn't going to do that again. He also felt like they were going to pitch around him and just walk him, but Guthrie got the outside corner with a fastball.
Well, maybe he has lured Guthrie into throwing him a strike here. Got 2 strikes. Chance to put him away. Lofton runs. The hole at short. Vizquel. Not Vizquel. That's Rebele. And the inning is over. Albert Bell retired for the first time in this game. Kirby Puckett, Kent Hrbek, they're coming up. Presenting now from Jacobs Field. This is John Miller along with Joe Morgan, your Sunday night baseball telecasters. 7-6. Cleveland ahead, and Kirby Puckett at the plate against Jerry DePoto. Base hit. Tomey was over hugging the foul line in a 1-run game, and Kirby is now 2 for 3 with 2 batted in. Here in Albert Bell's play.
Well, he hangs the breaking ball inside on the first pitch, and Kirby finds the hole between short and second. A breaking ball. He didn't hit it that sharply, but he found the hole.
Kirby Puckett. I mean, he's going to get his hits. 1984 until this year. He's had more hits than anybody. I mean, Wade Boggs and Tony Gwynn are hitting 360, 370 all the time. Kirby, around 200 hits almost every year. For a long time there, he was the only guy other than Wade Boggs to win a batting championship in the American League. Kirby Puckett.
When you look at Boggs, though, you have to give him a lot of credit. He was getting 200 hits plus 100 walks. So his on-base percentage was much higher than Puckett's or anyone else's.
1 ball, 1 strike to Hrbek. Hrbek has walked, singled, and doubled home a run. 2 for 2 in this game. Puckett was just getting the base hits and rarely walking, but also hitting 40 doubles and 20 homers and getting his 90 to 100 RBIs every year. That's a called strike on the inside. Now, Wade Boggs came along in 1982, a couple of years before Kirby Puckett burst upon the scene. Those stats we showed you are for that 10-year period, 84 until now. Outside to Hrbek, 2-2. You know, Tom Kelly has said over the years that Kent Hrbek is the one hitter in his batting order who has prompted more pitching changes and changes in plans than any other hitter. He's the guy they seem to focus on, the guy they seem to feel like we've got to shut him down in the late innings. Base hit. And he took advantage of that open hole. Puckett will head for third. Kirby up for the ball. Puckett and Hrbek. Boy, these guys have been partners in stories like this for a long time, like the '87 World Series, the '91 World Series.
Well, the problem is you get a pitch up to Hrbek, you better get it way up. He likes the ball down, and he just finds the hole between first and second. When you have a runner at first base, and you're a left-handed pull hitter, really it gives you your percentage of go way up that you're going to get a base hit simply if you can pull the ball to the right side. It's a big hole on the right side.
Shane Mack, the hitter. 1 for 2 with a walk and a run scored. They're playing for the double play here. They'll give away the tying run to get the double play. Fly ball. Kirby. Medium deep right field. Plenty deep enough to score Kirby Puckett. The throw will go to second, and Kirby Puckett scores the tying run. 7-7. Hrbek holding it first. The 40th RBI for Shane Mack. And the Twins, who at one time were trailing 6-1, have tied the game in the 7th.
Number 5, Pedro Munoz.
Mike Hargrove's bullpen is plenty busy right now. He's got a right-hander and a left-hander warming up. There's the right-hander Plunk, the left-hander, the only left-hander on the staff, Lilliquist, who's had a bad year so far. Pedro Munoz, who is 3 for 3 with a run batted in, coming up. 7-7 in the 7th. That's foul.
Well, we mentioned that Cleveland acquired Jeff Russell from Boston to be the closer, but it's not his time yet, especially now in a 7-7 tie. And I think it's a good acquisition by Cleveland simply because for the last 5 years, Russell has had 30 or more saves. So he does know how to close a ball game.
Yeah, he's a proven performer. Let's see if they get 2 here. Bianca steps in the bag, 1 to first. 2. Third double play turned by the Cleveland infield. So the Twins get the 1. Eddie Murray will be coming up. We go to the last of the 7th. 7-7. ESPN Sunday Night Baseball is brought to you by Ricoh. Ricoh makes a full line of copiers and facsimiles to meet all your office needs. The name to know, Ricoh. And by the more than 800 AutoZone stores across America. AutoZone, the best parts in auto parts. And that's the view from the MetLife blimp, co-piloted by Snoopy, dressed as the famous World War I flying ace. Tonight, rather than searching the skies for the Red Baron, Snoopy is enjoying the ball game here at Cleveland's Jacobs Field. And that's the panoramic look at this newest addition to the Cleveland scene. What a great addition it has been. There's the MetLife blimp. Good work, Snoopy. Here's Eddie Murray. Mark Guthrie to Eddie Murray, headed for the Hall of Fame. Murray is closing in on 3,000 hits now. May not have enough time this year, but certainly next year. Pop foul, and this will come back out of play. Murray with his double in the third inning tonight, now has 2,901 hits. Only 2 hitters in the history of baseball have ever hit more grand slams than Murray. There's Dave Winfield, who's a little bit ahead of Eddie. Base hit into right center for Murray. Cole over to cut it off. Murray will hold with a single. He's 2 for 4 in the game.
Well, Eddie Murray has always been a high fastball hitter from the right side. He gets the high pitch and he lines it in the right center field. He's a better low ball hitter from the left side and a better high ball hitter from the right side, which is normal. Most right-handed hitters are better high ball hitters than left-handed hitters are.
2,902 for Murray. Dave Winfield, of course, went over 3,000 last year. Dave Winfield is the next man ahead of Murray in the home run list. Winfield 461, Murray 453. And Winfield none too pleased not to be in there tonight. Tommy, it's a strike. 0-1. Tommy has grounded out on a check swing, struck out, and flied to shallow center. We've got a 7-7 game. Cleveland jumped ahead 6-1 by the end of 3 innings. They were ahead 7-3 at the end of 4. But now Minnesota has tied the game. And for Minnesota, this is the first place team in its division. They need a win here tonight. The bunt down and bobbled and dropped by Hale.
That is the first official error charged to the Twins. They've made a couple of more errors tonight, but they weren't charged as error. This is a good butt by Tomei. He bunts it down the third baseline. Now watch Hale. What he wants to do is go to second base. Now watch him. He'll look up. See, he looks at second base before he picks the ball up. Picks the ball up, then look at second base. But he does just the opposite, and that's an error. And now the Indians have runners at first and second with no one out, and out comes Tom Kelly.
His bullpen is busy. 2 men on, nobody out in the 7th inning. And Jacobs Field, suddenly a roiling cauldron of sound. Carl Willis is the right-hander, and he will get the call here. 7-7, last of the 7th. We'll be back. Our Sunday night baseball game of the week. It is 7-7, last of the 7th. More baseball action coming up tomorrow night on ESPN. The world champion Jays, they are down right now, big time. Molitor and the Jays, Brian McRae and the Kansas City Royals from Kauffman Stadium at 7:30 Eastern. Then the high-flying Montreal Expos, Moises Alou, Larry Walker and company. Facing the first place Los Angeles Dodgers, Mike Piazza, Brett Butler and the Dodgers. And that will be joined in progress immediately following the Royals and the Blue Jays right here. A baseball doubleheader to top off your 4th of July only on ESPN. Carl Willis on Joe, and he's given up a lot of hits. 61 hits in 40 and 2/3 innings.
Well, Carl Willis has to keep the ball down. He has a pretty good sinker and a slider when he keeps it down. But if he does not get the ball down, that's when he gets up a lot of hits.
There's Eddie Murray at second. Jim Tomey at first. Alomar the hitter. Now there are 3 left-handed hitters in a row due up after Alomar. The Twins have a left-hander, Larry Cassian, warming up in their bullpen. But Mike Hargrove also has a bench full of right-handed hitters. There's Cassian staying loose in the bullpen. Here's Alomar. They're looking for the bunt. He squares. And he's going to get a base hit.
Well, it's another mistake. This is a lack of communication here. First of all, if you're the third baseman, you have to make sure that someone else can field the ball. Well, he thinks that Willis is going to be able to field it because the ball is actually bunted toward the mound. I can't really fault Chip Hale for that, but it looked like Willis charged straight in instead of going towards the line. If you're the pitcher, you should always charge toward the line. not straight in. And Tom Kelly cannot be too pleased with the way his team is playing defense tonight.
Well, you saw Kelly make the sign. That was to his infielders telling him to move in. The infield is in. And the right-hander Willis will stay in to face the left-handed batting Paul Sorrento. He's singled home a run, doubled home a run, and flying to shallow left.
This is a dangerous situation for the Twins to play the infield in with the bases loaded, because one base hit can break this game wide open. And with the infield in, it doesn't have to be a sharply hit ground ball to get through.
I remember Sparky Anderson once telling me, Joe, says, hey, you got the bases loaded, nobody out. You feel like you're fortunate if they only get one.
Right. But the Twins are trying to keep them from getting any runs, which is a chance that they're taking. You know, you're on the road, you have 2 at-bats left, so the decision is being made by Tom Kelly, and that decision is that they are not sure they can score runs in the next couple innings, so they're going to try to keep the Cleveland Indians from scoring.
He's in effect saying 1 run will beat us.
Right.
Base hit. Murray scores. Thome is held as Puckett fires all the way in. It is 8-7 for Cleveland. The bases are still loaded, and there still is nobody out. The 3rd hit of the game for Sorrento.
You could never know if that ball would have been caught at the infielder's back, but they would have a better chance. Sorrento breaks his bat, and you see if Knobloch is back at his normal position, he may have had a chance to catch that, or if he's at double play depth, he may have a chance to catch it. But Puckett charges and holds it to 1 run.
Now, one of the reasons I'm sure that Kelly is sticking with Willis here is he's got the forkball, the sinker. He wants that ground ball, but Willis got the ball up there to Sorrento, and Kelly looked none too pleased. Kirby got the ball up to him. Pop-up. Foul ground. 2 men going for it, and Hale calls off Walbeck. And finally, there is 1 away. And we go to the top of the order for Kenny Lofton, who is now hitting .369 for the year. 3 hits for Lofton tonight. They're going to keep the infield in. It is 8-7 for Cleveland. Looking at the Minnesota batting order, by the way, Kirby Puckett will come to bat again in this game. He is due up 6th in the next rotation.
Well, John, you have to play the infield in with Lofton because you can't double him up on a normal ground ball.
Stride. There's a look at the infield alignment defensively for Minnesota. The bases are loaded. Thome at 3rd, Alomar at 2nd, Sorrento at 1st. The outfield is pushed over toward the left field line against Kenny Lofton. That's a ball. 1 ball and 1 strike. You'll see Lofton's old team, the Houston Astros, next Sunday on Sunday Night Baseball. We'll leave the brand new Jacobs Field where we are tonight for Wrigley Field next Sunday, 8 Eastern, 7 Central. The Astros and the Cubs. Our final game before the All-Star break next Sunday. Hope you'll join us. And that trade has to look kind of bad right now, the way Lofton has developed into a great star over here. But the Astros just didn't think he had the commitment to do that. Into right center field. Cole is on the run. He's got it. All the runners tag up, or 2 of them anyway. Thome scores. Alomar goes to 3rd, and Sorrento goes back to 1st. It is 9-7. An RBI for Lofton.
Well, a good job by Lofton in getting the ball to the outfield to drive in the run.
Lofton tonight, 3 for 3 with a walk and a sacrifice fly. Scored 1, driven home 1. Amazing thing about Lofton, Joey, as you pointed out earlier, he's got the power this year. 9 home runs, but he also has 7 triples and 20 doubles. He's got a slugging percentage of well over 500. Most sluggers don't have a slugging percentage that high. Omar Vizquel, ball 1. He is 1 for 3. A run battered in and a sacrifice bunt. This is his stronger side, the left side. Both of the runs in this inning charged to Guthrie, but the error. Here's the pitch, and that's a called strike. The error by Chip Hale, a big play in this inning. And then, of course, the failure of Willis to field the bunt by Alomar, a big play in this inning. A couple of bunts that the Twins couldn't handle.
And that's just fundamental baseball. When they're giving you an out, you have to take it.
1-2 now to Vizquel. On deck, Carlos Baerga. Now, Baerga gets to bat in this inning. Bell behind him. Then Cleveland will have their shot, truly, to break this game wide open once and for all. We're in the 7th. Cleveland is back ahead. 9-7. There's Albert Bell. Cole. That's the inning. We're heading now to the 8th inning. The last of the order coming up for Minnesota. 9-7. Cleveland. Right-hander on the pitch. Been in a lot of games. 6-2 with 2.55 ERA. And gets a lot of strikeouts, this guy, but a lot of walks, too.
Too many walks.
Alvaro Espinosa was a one-time roommate in the minor leagues with Kirby Puckett. They were both in the Twins system. Now playing third base in place of Tomey for Cleveland. It'll be Chip Hale to lead it off against Eric Plunk. Hale is 0 for 2 with a sacrifice fly. And he takes ball 1. 9-7. Cleveland ahead. 9 runs, 15 hits for Cleveland. When you got a team that's hitting .292, 15 hits is just another night at the ballpark. And that's a strike. 7 runs, 11 hits, 1 error for the Twins. Kenny Lofton been aboard 4 times tonight. And driven home 1, scored 1. On the left field line, Bell on the run. That's in there, base hit. He cuts it off. Hale's going to try for 2. And he makes it to throw a little bit offline. A double for Chip Hale.
Good hitting there by Chip Hale. Plunk's ball moves away from the left-handed hitter, and he just takes it down the left field line. Bell tries to cut it off, but can't do so. So he set up inside. Now watch where this pitch ends up. Out over the plate. The ball moves away, and good hitting there by Hale. He just takes it the other way. Plunk could not throw the ball where Alomar wanted him to. He wanted to come inside because the pitch before was on the outside corner.
The bespectacled right-hander, Eric Plunk. He's got a baby face out there with those glasses. But he throws real hard. He's got mean stuff, and he doesn't always know where it's going. Rebele, the hitter, all the way off to the right. We got a final from the ball game down in Arlington, Texas. The Rangers held on to defeat the Tigers. 5-3 down there. Texas atop the American League West. And they are leading by 4 games now over both Seattle and Oakland. Seattle lost at Yankee Stadium today. Oakland won at Fenway Park. Oakland has won, I think, 15 of their last 18 now, Joe.
Well, they've been playing very good baseball after a shaky start. They started off pretty well. They were in first place.
You're calling it shaky?
Well, but they were in first place for a couple of days, and then all of a sudden everything went.
They had one problem after they were in first place.
Yeah.
They went 10-37. Well, that will move Hale to third base. Rebele is retired. Baerga throws him out. One man gone. ESPN's coverage of the world's one of the greatest upsets of all time. We'll see. Walbeck deep to right field. It's tied up. Matt Walbeck, first ball swinging, has launched one out of the park to tie the game. His 3rd home run in the big leagues in his 247th at bat. And for Cleveland, the bullpen having its problems still.
Well, they couldn't get to Russell. They acquired him to close out the 9th inning, but they had to get through the 8th inning, and they could not do it. Well, again, this fastball moves out over the plate. Sandy Alomar calls for the fastball in, and Plunk gets it out over the plate. Walbeck makes him pay for it.
Here's Knobloch. Swinging strike, 0-1. Knobloch is 1 for 4. Matt Walbeck actually hit a home run last year while with the Cubs. Hit one against Jose De Leon in April of '93. That had been his only major league home run until this year. Now he's got 3 with the Twins. This one, he knows when to hit him. 9-9 in the 8th inning here. Now in the last of the 8th inning, lest the Twins start feeling a little overconfident by merely tying the game, Baerga, Bell, and Murray will be coming up for Cleveland. Well, Eric Plunk gives it up here. That is only the 2nd home run that he has allowed this year. A ball and 2 strikes to Knobloch. Alex Cole on deck, and then Kirby Puckett after him. A double for Hale, and then a 1-out home run by Walbeck. I guess the odds of Walbeck hitting a home run against Plunk were about as great as the United States beating Brazil tomorrow.
And it can happen.
Down he goes. That's the 93-mile-an-hour heater on our Jugs gun.
Well, it's a good high fastball, and it's right by Knobloch.
Now here's a guy you'd like to keep off the bases if you're Eric Plunk in a tie ball game with Kirby Puckett up next. Alex Cole. Too low. Cole has had a sacrifice. He's hit into a force play, singled and scored, and flied out. 1 for 3 officially. Hitting .321. Slider catches. 1-1. Now the Cleveland bullpen is busy. The left-hander Lilliquist up again, and also a right-hander Jose Mesa has joined him out there. That's Lilliquist on the left, Mason the big right hand. Cole pops it foul. Right back beneath us. 1 ball, 2 strikes now. Now in the last half of this inning, it'll be Baerga, Bell, and Murray, the great run-scoring threesome. A prolific trio. That's a foul ball. Still 1 ball and 2 strikes. By the way, the All-Star teams were announced today. 4 All-Stars are in tonight's game. Knobloch and Puckett for the Twins, Lofton and Bell for Cleveland. And so far, those 4 All-Stars have combined for a .600 batting average, 9 for 15 with 6 runs scored and 6 RBIs. Very All-Star-like. And the pitch is high for a ball. That Houston team, Joe, must be going to win the National League because they've got a lot of All-Stars in that team. The National League All-Star team. Doug Hrbek made it. John Hudak, Jeff Bagwell, Craig Biggio, and Ken Caminiti. They all made it. 5 All-Stars from Houston. Break up the Astros. Mark Payton, our director, is from Houston. Told me 5 All-Stars. I thought they meant that you had made the team again. 3-2 to Cole. Lofton and Bell. That's the inning. Puckett kept out of there. Baerga, Bell, and Murray coming up. We're tied up again.
By hitting a 2-run homer in the first inning, that gave them a 2-1 lead. But those are the first 2 of his 3 runs batted in for the evening. So Albert Bell is still hot.
Now, the Texas Rangers have a threesome Will Clark, Jose Canseco, and Juan Gonzalez. 205 RBIs. The White Sox, Frank Thomas, Julio Franco, and Robin Ventura. And then Cleveland's threesome of Baerga, Bell, and Murray. The third most prolific threesome in all of Major League Baseball, behind only those three from the Rangers and those three from the White Sox. So here's Baerga. Those three that we're talking about are coming up now against Willis. Ball one.
Well, Baerga hits better from the left side, so does Eddie Murray. And Albert Bell is in between them. We'll see how Tom Kelly approaches these three hitters. The key for Willis is to try to keep Baerga off the bases, and then they'll know what they want to do with Bell.
Pop fly. This is Shane Mack, and they keep Baerga off the bases. He's now 1 for 5 in the game. And so Bell will come to the plate. 1 out and nobody on.
And we'll see how they pitch him. They're going to have the same shift on him. They're going to have 3 infielders on the left side. And we'll see if they stay away from him or see how they're going to pitch him. There's Jeff Russell up throwing in the Cleveland bullpen. They're in hope. He's hoping that they can get 1 run here and let him come on to pitch tonight.
There you see the 3 infielders on the left side. Only Hrbek remains on the right side. Bell hitting .380. And he took the fastball for a strike from Willis.
Well, I think Bell wanted to see if they were going to come after him to get him out or if they were going to pitch him away to try to keep him in the ballpark. I think that's why he wanted to take 1 pitch. I don't know what he learned there, but we'll see how he handles Willis's pitches.
High in the air to right center. It'll stay in the park. Puckett. Number 2.
Well, I tell you what, John, I believe that the shift last time up bothered Bell a little bit, and it's got him thinking. See, he was pulling off of that pitch like he wanted to pull it, but the pitch was away, and he tried to go the other way with it. He seemed to have a better idea before they put the shift on him, but I think that's why Tom Kelly did it, to give him something to think about rather than just letting Albert Bell walk up there and hammer it.
And you saw the grimace, the disappointment of the perfectionist, Albert Bell. Here's Eddie Murray, 2 for 4. Broken bat pop-up. And Carl Willis has disposed of the big 3 easily and quickly. We're going to the 9th inning. Now the big 3 for the Twins. Puckett, Hrbek, and Mack will be coming up. We're tied. Minnesota 9, Cleveland 9. We're heading to the 9th here at Jacobs Field. Now stay tuned. Right after the ball game, Sports Center will be coming your way. All of the highlights in a big day in sports. The Sunday Conversation will be with Wade Boggs. And you know about the legends of the game that they'll have at the All-Star game next week. Well, a couple of Dodger legends went at it today. For real. Fernando Valenzuela and Oral Hershiser locked up. And it was a great pitcher's battle. Fernando pitching well for the Phillies. That's coming up on Sports Center with Keith Olbermann and Carl Ravitch. Beautifully produced, wonderfully written, and reported. Stay tuned. Inning number 9, Kirby Puckett. Kirby is the quintessential first ball fastball hitter, Joe.
Well, he's a good fastball hitter, and that's what Plunk's best pitch is. So this is a good matchup of a good fastball hitter and a good fastball pitcher.
Kirby, 2 RBIs tonight. He's 2 for 3 in the game. 2 runs scored. Ooh, there's the breaking ball. 0-2.
Smart pitch there by Plunk. You can see that Puckett was looking for the fastball all the way. And now that he put the breaking ball in Puckett's in Kirby Puckett's mind, it'll give him a chance to move it around and throw the fastball up and in or move it away.
Kirby went right up with him. 0-2.
Once you're established in the hitter's mind that you will throw the breaking ball, he has to hesitate just a hair longer. And when you have a great fastball, as Plunk does, it puts a lot of pressure on Puckett with 2 strikes.
Ken Hrbek on deck. Shane Mack due up 3rd in the inning. 9-9. In the dirt. 1-2. Plunk is the third Cleveland pitcher of the game. He gave it up in the 8th inning. Came on with a 9-7 advantage. Gave up a double to Hale and a 2-run homer to Walbeck. Had been the ineffectual latter part of the Minnesota batting order. Got the job done. He struck him out.
If Puckett has a weakness, it is that he will go out of the strike zone. He goes way out of the strike zone here on a high fastball, but he will also go out of the strike zone on a breaking balls in the dirt. But he can handle both pitches if they are in the strike zone.
Here's Kent Hrbek. 3 for 3. 2 singles and a double. A run battered in. He's also walked. Strike 1 to Herbie. 1 out, nobody on. 9th inning. 9-9 the score. I saw Kirby Puckett putting his bat back in the bat rack down there. They have sort of like visitors in the dugouts here in Cleveland. They've got the new dugout level luxury boxes. You see those people sitting back there like in a la Dodger Stadium, and there they are. But the dugouts are separated just by a piece of plexiglass from those luxury boxes, so that people can look right into each dugout as the game goes along. Look at that. Talk about feeling like you're in the game. And Hrbek takes the ball. 2-1 now. When the Yankees were here last weekend, Buck Showalter, manager of the Yankees, said, no, I don't want this. And he taped up a bunch of paper on that plexiglass so the fans couldn't see into his dugout. And Tony La Russa, when the Athletics came to town earlier this year, he did the same thing. Now 3-1 to Hrbek.
I don't know if he's protecting his players from the fans' view or whether he's protecting the fans from some of the things that go on in the dugout. Sometimes you may not want to see what goes on in the dugout, or hear for that matter.
Doing this for your own good, you fans. Hrbek with a fly ball, left center. Here's Albert Bell. 2 down. There's a look at it in the luxury seats down there. They also are part of the luxury condominium type boxes down there. Not just the seats behind them are the big suites. Suites, yeah. So that's the look right into the dugout, and you are really in the game if you're down there. But bring your checkbook.
I think they need mine, yours, and a couple other people's checkbooks.
Yeah. Shane Mack, he's struck out. He's had an infield hit. He's walked, and he's hit a sacrifice fly. 1 for 2 officially. 1 batted in, 1 scored. Hitting .317. 2 down, nobody on. Amazing how this game has turned here all of a sudden. We had this wild game all night long. And now the big guys coming up in the late innings. We saw Baerga, Bell, and Murray go down quietly. Now here are the Twins with Puckett, Hrbek, and Mack. Nothing's happened. Mack trying to get it started. And he was flinching in the slider. Strike 2. 1-2 the count. Cleveland bullpen all the while very busy with Lilliquist, the left-hander, and Mesa, the right-hander, warming up. Top of the 9th inning. Still 1-2. There's Lilliquist, the lefty. Mesa, the right-hander. They've both been up so much that they've long since been ready if needed. Eric Plunk. He is the pitcher of record now after giving up the tying runs. Mike Hargrove. That is foul. So now that we're in the top of the 9th inning, Joe, there cannot be a save opportunity for his new closer, Jeff Russell.
Exactly.
From here on, if the Cleveland goes ahead, the game's over. Of course, Tom Kelly in the other dugout has his ace closer still available, Aguilera. He could use it if he goes ahead. Vizquel throws him out. 3 up and 3 down. Espinosa, Alomar, and Sorrento are due up. 9-9 going to the Sunday Night Baseball from Jacobs Field in Cleveland. We are going to the last of the 9th inning. It is 9-9. Stay tuned now, right after the ball game. Sports Center coming up. All of the day's highlights from around the major leagues. And, of course, the Dodgers and Phillies. Valenzuela, Hershiser. It'll be Alvaro Espinosa to lead it off here for the Cleveland Indians as we go to the last of the 9th inning. 270, 1 homer, 16 batted in. Now, this Cleveland ball club is a very tight-knit, but very loose group of guys, which is, you would think, to their advantage. They have a lot of fun. Candy Maldonado, they got that blend of veterans and guys who come up with one another. And they seem to know how to keep each other loose. And one thing Maldonado has insisted upon is that Alvaro Espinosa is the spitting image of Harry Carey. In fact, in the clubhouse, he's known. So we decided, Joe, to test this theory. Does he really look like Harry? Maybe we should take the mustache off. What do you think now? Maybe we should color the hair a little bit. Nah. Is Maldonado right?
Well, I don't know. I'll have to ask Espinosa before I give my opinion.
Alvaro, Senor Harry Carey, as Maldonado calls him, Espinosa. And he takes a strike. By the way, we're all hoping that Harry's going to be back in the broadcast booth. WGN in Chicago very shortly. He's been in the hospital. And I know his many fans all across the country send along, join with us in sending along best wishes to Harry. We hope to be hearing Harry's voice on those Cubs games real soon again. We'll be in Chicago next Sunday. And we'll look forward to seeing Harry at Wrigley Field next weekend when we get there. Alvaro Espinosa, 1-1. One ball and 2 strikes now to Espinosa. You know, Joe, a lot of people think that you look kind of like Harry.
John, please.
Well, no, you know, before you say anything, look at the glasses.
Yes, John. The glasses look like Harry's. You're right.
Say holy cow for me, will you? 2-2 to Espinosa. You know, Espinosa, in 1983, played in Visalia, California, as a teammate of Kirby Puckett.
I know where that is.
He hit second, and Puckett hit third all that year. Who do you think had the better batting average?
Well,
here's a hint.
Well, since you asked the question that way, I know the answer.
Well, you know, but I'm going to give you a little hint now. Kirby hit 314 that year. Espinosa hit 319 that year. Just in front of Kirby. And they were roommates at Visalia.
Well, John, when you ask questions like that, you keep forgetting that I'm a college graduate. And I understand what you're getting at.
Yeah, but see, I put it that way, Joe, because I'm your friend.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. See, if I didn't like you, I wouldn't have asked it that way.
All right.
Kirby Puckett and Alvaro Espinosa. Kirby drove in 97 runs that year, so he must have been driving in Espinosa quite often. Carl Willis with the forkball, and that's fouled. 2-2 to Espinosa. Alvaro from Valencia, Venezuela. Played a little bit with the Twins, but never a whole lot in the big leagues. It was when he went to the Yankees, 1989, that his breakthrough as a big leaguer played. He was a regular shortstop for the Yankees for 3 years. And then released in spring training in 1992, and Cleveland picked him up. Popped up, shallow right, Kirby Puckett. Takes one away from his old roomie. But careful, Alvaro. There's no crying in baseball. One down, and here is Sandy Alomar. Sandy has tripled, grounded out, flied out, and had a bunt single when he was trying to sacrifice there in the 7th inning. 9-9. Carl Willis is trying to send this game into extra innings.
Well, Sandy Alomar is capable of ending it all with one swing.
A strike. 15 hits for Cleveland, 13 hits for Minnesota. There's only Cleveland, despite all of the offense tonight, only one home run has been hit in the game. That's by Albert Bell. Right to third. Hale. Number 2. And now here comes Sorrento. Oh, and I already forgot Matt Walbeck's home run. I'm not showing him any respect, Joe.
Well, I don't think Cleveland was giving him much respect before he hit the home run either. I'm sure they were. That was the last thing that was on their mind, was for Matt Walbeck to hit a home run and tie the ball game.
Well, it happened so long ago. We're in the 9th inning, and he hit it all the way back in the 8th inning. Walbeck and Bell with the game's only home runs. 9-9 here in Cleveland. Check swing and a foul. Strike 1. Sorrento had been right ahead of the telecast. We showed the game-winning home run that he had in a sudden death situation like this that went into the second deck in right field. He's got the power. 3 for 4 tonight. 3 batted in. Right back to Willis. We are going to go into extra innings tonight. Munoz will be leading it off. At the end of 9, it is 9-9. Cleveland 9. We played 9, and now we're going to play more. We go to the 10th inning, 9-9 Sunday Night Baseball. Now join ESPN tomorrow afternoon for the latest in the world's premier cycling event, the Tour de France. Tomorrow, it's coverage of the 170-mile second stage from Hrbek to Boulogne-sur-Mer, and that's the Tour de France. Tomorrow afternoon at 2:30 Eastern, 11:30 Pacific, right here on ESPN. And it is Pedro Munoz, que es 3 for 4 in the game. Vizquel. Nice play.
And nice stretch there by Sorrento to help him out.
Munoz 3 for 5.
Well, we talked about Vizquel winning the Gold Glove for his defense. Takes one extra step here, gets rid of it. Now watch Sorrento stretch out and help him out there. Just in time to retire Munoz.
Here's Chip Hale. Hale hit a sacrifice fly in the 5th and then doubled to start a rally in the 8th. He was the first man to face Plunk. To 9 in the 10th inning. 41,261 the paid crowd at Jacobs Field. Slider is low, 1 ball and 1 strike. This is yet another sellout here. 16 in a row. 16 in a row have been sold out in this ballpark. Tomorrow's game here, again between the Twins and Cleveland, will put the Cleveland home attendance at past 1.5 million. And they still would have played less than half their home schedule at that point. Mack gets him. Hale is down. 2 down in the Minnesota 10th. And that is 7 in a row retired by Plunk since he gave up the home run to Walbeck. And so look for those second deck seats, Joe. That would be my pick for the seats I'd like to have if I were going to buy some seats here. I like that view up there.
Well, it's a little high for me, but I do think the stadium is well built.
Yeah, you're holding out for those dugout loges down there.
I like to be close to the action.
And to your suite.
Yes. You mentioned that they're on a pace to maybe get close to 3 million people. Their record for attendance, home attendance, is 2.62, and that was in 1948. So this is the first time they've really had a chance to break that record.
And they have already sold more tickets, including the advance sale for the rest of the year, than the attendance they had in 1948. If nobody ever bought another ticket this year other than what's been sold already, they will set the all-time Cleveland attendance record. They get baseball fever here in Cleveland for sure. And of course this ballpark, I mean, unlike the old ballpark, you've got to get tickets in advance. You want to see a game here. It'll ballpark, you never had to get tickets in advance, except in 48. That one is driven deep to left center field. Bell is there, and he's got it. Hrbek retired. Kirby, Lofton, and Vizquel are due up. Baerga would be due fourth. No Morgan from Cleveland. It's 9-9 going to the last of the 10th inning. That's the view of beautiful Jacobs Field from the MetLife blimp, providing aerial coverage of Sunday Night Baseball. MetLife's aerial ambassadors will attend over 70 sporting events and television specials this year. Look to the skies for Snoopy and the MetLife blimp. Next Sunday, join us from Wrigley Field, Chicago, Jeff Bagwell, who's sort of the Albert Bell of the National League right now. The Astros with 5 All-Stars in their final bow before the All-Star game, facing Mark Grace and the Cubs. Look at Bagwell's numbers. 26 homers, 77 batted in. And Red Sox fans may break down into tears every time they hear his name. Jeff Bagwell, we'll get a look at him just before the All-Star game next Sunday night from Wrigley Field. We'll get a chance to compare the field at Wrigley to the brand new Jacobs Field here. One thing these new ballparks don't have, Joe, for everything that they do have, the one thing they don't have is the history.
Right.
You go to Fenway and Ted Williams did such and such here. You go to Wrigley and Ernie Banks hit his 500th there, and so on. That history is just beginning to be written here in Cleveland and Camden Yards in Baltimore and the ballpark in Arlington. Here is Wayne Kirby. Carl Willis has done quite a job. He first came in and immediately gave up a couple of runs that he had inherited. But since then, he's retired everybody that he's faced. Retired 9 in a row. Kirby is 0 for 3. That's a strike. 1-1. 9-9. Last of the 10th. Now in the first 7.5 innings of this game, between the two teams, 36 men reach base. 36. In the last 2 innings, nobody's reached. Sinker misses. 2-1 to Kirby.
Well, it's very important for Kirby to make sure he gets a good pitch to hit here on 2-1. Because leading off in extra innings, that's your job as a leadoff hitter. Make sure you can get on base. He got a good pitch to hit. He just popped it up.
Hrbek calls off Hale. Hrbek takes it. That's 10 in a row retired by Willis against Mike Hargrove's team. That's Buddy Bell, by the way, in the foreground there. Great third baseman with Cleveland and later with Texas. Now he's a coach here. His son is playing in the minor leagues and is a top prospect too. May not be much longer before he's in the big leagues. Here is Kenny Lofton. Now, Lofton has had 3 singles, a walk. The one time he didn't reach base, he got a sacrifice fly. A strike.
A little surprising to me how deep Hrbek is playing at first base. He already had 1 drag bunt to that side, but Hrbek is playing way back at first base. That's rather deep for a guy of Lofton's speed and his bunting ability.
He is hitting .369 for the year. Fastball for a strike. So yeah, you Carl Willis, you have to keep him off the bases here in a tie ball game.
I think what we're seeing here is a little different approach by Lofton. He is capable of hitting the ball out of the ballpark, and it looked like he was looking for a pitch that he could drive rather than one that he could just hit.
Now Hrbek on the run. Barehanded pick out. Swing!
That is a major league play by his shortstop. He made it the only possible way he had a chance to get Lofton, and that is barehanding a ball that's rolling pretty quickly. Now watch this play. Another check swing. This is the second time he's checked his swing and had a base hit. Hrbek comes flying in, barehands it, throws it on the next step, and he throws it accurately. Very close play there at first base. Let's take a look from this angle. Very close at first base.
That is the 4th hit of the game for Lofton and his 3rd on the infield. He twice has beaten out little check swing rollers, and he's also had a bunt. So now, Joe, I mean, his job is to steal second base.
Well, we'll see how capable Willis is of holding him close at first base.
He bluffed. And the bluff of the bunt also by Vizquel. Now, there's one out already here.
Yeah, but Vizquel is protecting the base runner. The best way to keep the catcher back is to square around to bunt and then pull the bat back. That way the catcher can't jump out in front and shorten his throw to second base.
Lofton has 1 steal tonight.
Carl Willis also uses his version of the slide step on that pitch, trying to keep Lofton from getting a good jump.
Walbeck, not too bad. Better than the major league average. He's thrown out 37% of the runners who've tried to steal against him. Bluffing the bunt again. 2-0 the count.
Lofton does not have a big lead at first base, John. I'm not so sure that he is going to go. Well, now you have a perfect hit and run situation if you want to take advantage of that. 2 balls and no strikes. Willis will be definitely trying to throw a strike. They can't pitch out here. So if you're Lofton, you know that you can go if nothing else is on.
Both managers employing their respective strategies here. Lofton is back. Vizquel swinging.
Well, it was a hit and run, and it was a perfect situation. 2 balls, no strikes. You know that he's going to be around the plate, and he's not going to pitch out. I don't even know who was covering. I was trying to watch. They did a good job of disguising it, meaning Knobloch and Hrbek. They didn't give up their positions too quickly. When Lofton takes off, you can't just take off for the bag. You can't give up your position that quickly. You have to hold for a beat in case the ball is hit in your direction.
There he goes. And the bunt. All hands are safe. And now they've got Baerga. And unless he hits a double play or ends the game, they would have Albert Bell.
John, the play worked, but I'm not a big fan of this play. If you're going to let Lofton steal the base, let him steal the base. The bunt only takes the base that he was going to steal, and it doesn't really add another base to it. I like the hit and run because you have an opportunity to hit a hole, and then you have runners at first and third with 1 out.
Well, I agree with you 100%, Joe. The one thing I'm thinking is it could ensure that Bell would bat in this inning, even if Baerga makes it out. That's the only thing I can figure. I mean, Vizquel might have been doing it on his own, too, right? I mean, his own idea. Baerga, ball 1. There's Albert Bell on deck. I mean, what you're saying is, I mean, Vizquel certainly did it on his own.
Yes, I don't think he really, I don't think that was something that came from the bench. I think he just bunted on his own after he decided, after he missed the 2-0 pitch on the hit and run.
Baerga, knowing that a base hit could win this game. 1 for 5 tonight. 2-0.
One of the problems that Willis has is he's trying to make sure that he keeps Lofton close at second base. And when you do that, you take a little bit of your concentration away from the hitter. And now he has fallen behind 2-0, so he has to give Baerga a pitch to hit here. If he doesn't, he can't go 3-0 and walk the winning run to third base. So it's up to Baerga to make sure he gets a good pitch to hit here.
Lofton, the man that man is trying to get home. Fly ball. Shane Mack. And now it comes down to Albert Bell with the game on the line. He doesn't need the home run this time to win it, as he has done twice this week already. And all around Jacobs Field, the house that Albert owns, everybody is standing as if through the sheer force of their roar, they can help Albert win this one. Two down, two on, last of the 10th. 9-9. How much more can Albert do in the game? He's already had 3 hits, a home run, 3 batted in. He's already scored twice. Lofton is running, and he makes it uncontested.
Well, you're always better off at third with 2 outs than you are at second with 2 outs, but now they're not going to hold Vizquel at first base, and if he wants to run, they'll let him run, and then they'll walk Bell. So we'll see what the Indians do from with first and third, 2 down.
One and one to Bell. Awkward looking swing for Albert Bell.
Well, the curveball that fooled him.
Bell is hitting .378. There's a drive down the line. Into the corner goes Mack. It's out of play.
He didn't get enough of that one anyway, John. He got jammed on that pitch.
The roar is already deafening here, Cleveland, and Bell hasn't hit it yet. 41,000 fans are on their feet in a ballpark that just opened in a city that has not seen a pennant race in 35 years. The forkball struck him out. And Willis gets out of the jam. And we are heading to the 11th inning now. Walbeck, who homered his last time, will be leading it off. Then Knobloch and Cole. Kirby Puckett will be due 4th. It's still 9-9. John Miller, Joe Morgan with you. Sunday night baseball. It is 9-9. The Minnesota Twins have been beaten twice in a row here, and you can see the importance to the Twins of this one. They're 7 games out already, and they need the victory to pull back to within 6. And already down near the bottom of their division, they got a lot of teams between themselves and the Minnesota Twins. In the 8th inning, Matt Walbeck helped their cause against Eric Plunk. They were down 9-7, and he launched it, Joe.
Well, it tied the ball game, and Plunk just wasn't ready for Walbeck to pull the ball. He thought he could get away with a fastball in. He didn't get away with it.
Well, the first time since that moment, here is Walbeck facing Plunk. Since that home run, Plunk has retired everybody 8 in a row. Knobloch will follow, and Cole is due up 3rd in the inning. Pop foul out of play off to the left. 1-1 to Walbeck. 17 hits for Cleveland, 13 hits for Minnesota. I don't recall too many games where each team scored this many runs during our 5 years of Sunday Night Baseball, Joe. We've seen some teams go out and get 15, 16 runs as one team, but I don't recall both teams ladding it up quite this much in a Sunday night game.
I can't remember an extra inning game or a game of this magnitude either where both teams have scored so many runs. But I'm sure that someone can check for us.
Who is it? 1-2 the count. Walbeck laid off that off-speed delivery. 2-2. Walbeck's only hit tonight has been that home run. They're either red hot or they can't beat anybody. That's the way their season has gone. Got a piece of it. They started the year by going 10-18. Then they turned around. They went 26-9. Now they're in another slide where they're 4-11. It up, fouled, out of play.
Well, they look like they're determined to try to get him out with a breaking ball. He had a fastball for the home run.
The fastball, but it was too low. Full count, 3-2. White Sox lost this afternoon to Milwaukee 9-2 at Comiskey Park, and so the White Sox would fall to 2.5 back if the Cleveland's were to win this game. Passed plunk by Hrbek.
We talked about the errors that he has made so far this season. He has also made a lot of great plays, and this is a great play for a second baseman. He's running away from the bag, jumps in the air and throws, and very accurate throw with something on it. Good play. This is a difficult play. Watch, it doesn't look like he gets rhythm to throw. He's actually still running the other way when he turns in the air and throws. Good play.
I'm not so sure Sorrento was still in the bag there, Joe. Now that was quite a stretch. Here's Knobloch. Strike one. Knobloch 1 for 5. Kirby in right field. Number 2. That's 10 straight. Retired by Eric Plunk.
But he didn't get the big one, John.
Didn't get Walbeck. Had he gotten Walbeck,
he probably would have been out of the game.
He only would have had to retire like one more, and then they would have handed the ball to Jeff Russell for the 9th inning. Alex Cole, 1 for 4 in the game with a sacrifice. Scored a run. Slider is low. 9 runs, 17 hits for Cleveland, 2 errors. 9 runs, 13 hits for Minnesota, 1 error. Top of the 11th. Howard, the fastball past him. Now, if Cole could somehow get aboard, Kirby Puckett would get a shot at Plunk here. Meanwhile, in the Minnesota bullpen, the ace is starting to warm up now. Rick Aguilera. There he is. The bearded one. Too low. 2-1. Boston. Puckett doesn't get the chance to bat. Eddie Murray. So Trey has handed heroics when we get back. Knocked off here. He talked to his teammate Albert Bell about that veteran influence of Murray and Morris and Martinez. Here's what he told us.
These guys are, 37, 38, 39 years old, but they're still hungry, and they want to win a championship, and they want to win it this year. And, maybe, a couple of guys feel like this may be their last year, and they want to win. And us as young players, I mean, we've been considered the team of the future, but now we want to be considered a team of now, and we want to win this year.
Albert Bell, well, he wasn't able to perform the heroics in the 10th inning, as he's done so many times just this week. Dennis Martinez, one of the veterans. So that's a veteran, eh? But that's that influence of keeping guys loose in there. But now here's Eddie Murray to try and get it done against the ace of the Minnesota bullpen, Rick Aguilera. 17 saves. Eddie Murray, Joe once said that he could tell a guy who wanted to be up there with the game on the line versus a guy who really didn't want to be up there just by the look in his eyes when he went to the plate from his position over at first base. He said, some guys would rather be anywhere else but having it all depend on them.
Well, I think that's exactly true. I don't know if you can tell all the time, but there are some players who do not like to hit the 9th inning with the running run at second base, and then there are players who just love those types of situations.
Eddie Murray is one of those who wants to be there when it's all happening. So here comes Eddie Murray. Tonight, 2 for 5 with a run batted in. He's had a single and a double. 60 runs batted in for Murray now for the year. .453 career homers, 19th place all time. Next, ahead of him in 18th place is Dave Winfield, whom we have not seen at all tonight except sitting in the dugout. Now Murray will get ready to stand in. 1,722 runs batted in, and you see the list of home run leaders. Winfield's ahead of him. Of course, Winfield's still active. Then Stargell, Musial. So Murray right there among the all-time greats. And ball one. Lou Gehrig is ahead of Stargell. Mel Ott. 98 hits to 3,000. 47 homers to 500. 1-1. Aguilera's got a very good forkball. Pretty good live fastball. His name's come up in trade rumors a lot this year. Teams in search of a closer. But the Twins, with their hot streak earlier this year, got right back into the pennant race, and trade talks kind of ended right there. Just a bit of a dribbler. Easy play for Aguilera.
Well, the good sinker from Aguilera kept Eddie Murray from pulling the ball.
Third baseman, number 10, Alvaro Espinosa.
Now here is Alvaro Espinosa. Espinosa's had one at bat. That was in the 9th inning, and he flied out to shallow right. He hit a home run here the other night against the Baltimore Orioles. His only home run of the year. Blew the fastball right past him, did Aguilera. 1 strike to count. Aguilera was part of the American League All-Star team last year. Been pretty steady as a closer for the Twins. Foul tip. 0-2. He, in 1990, became the full-time closer. Look at that. 32 saves and 42, 41. Last year, 34. second. Swing! It's a two-base error. He was just 4 games away from equaling the American League errorless streak record by a second baseman held by Jerry Adair. And now Adair's record is safe.
Well, this was his 86th game if he could have gotten through it without an error. And you mentioned Adair had 89. He gets down on it. He just comes up on it. Well, he kind of waits for it right there. See how he gets back on his heels a little bit? Once you start in, don't wait for the ball. But it's easy to say after he's made the mistake.
Man, that's about the last thing you would ever think would happen in a spot like this.
Yeah, good hustle there by Espinosa to go into second base on that ball.
So here's Alomar. Just a single to the outfield could wrap it up. Ball 1. Alomar tonight has tripled. He's had a bunt single. He is 2 for 5. Sorrento, a left-handed hitter, is behind him. Second error of the game for the Twins. And I guess when you see an error like that, Joe, just remind you how remarkable a streak like that is.
You're right. Not only catching the ball, but you have a second baseman and a shortstop there in so many plays. They have to take throws at second base, where if you catch the ball and tag someone and they knock it out of your glove, that's an error. You have so many throws to make. So there are a lot of things that can go wrong, and it's very difficult to put a long streak together like that.
Well, he had made 386 chances without an error since he last made one in September of last year. Now you had the record for a long while until Sandberg broke it.
Well, you have to be lucky, like you said. You have to. A lot of things have to go well for you, but it's difficult to go that long without making an error.
Espinosa, he's the winning run, possibly. 1-2 to Alomar.
Well, you see the split-fingered fastball from Aguilera, and Alomar out in front of it. Actually not a good pitch, not where he wanted to throw the pitch, but he fooled Aguilera with this. Aguilera fooled him with the speed.
Walbeck got to speak to Aguilera.
And I think he wants to talk to him, John, about leaving that ball up in the strike zone. You have to make sure you get that split-fingered pitch down.
The 11th inning. Alomar trying to do it. Bell, Murray, Baerga were unable to do. Get the winning run home. Caught by Knobloch! And safe at second. And Espinosa was going to be doubled up had they been able to connect on that throw with Rebele covering.
Nice play there by Knobloch. He tried to get rid of it too quickly. If he would have taken one more step, I think he could have gotten him out with one good step in the throw.
Alomar is hoping that maybe he would have been the hero there for a second, but it did not go through, and then he's upset with himself for not getting it done. 2 down, and here is Sorrento. He is 3 for 5 tonight. Each of his hits has driven home a run. The fork ball, 0-1. Last of the 11th, 9-9. Important game for Tom Kelly's Twins. They're trying to avoid getting hopelessly far behind in the standings here in the first half. 1-1 to Sorrento. Wayne Kirby on deck. He would be next. Alvaro Espinosa, the runner at second, ready to go in anything here. He is the possible winning run. Two and one.
I'm not so sure Aguilera wants to challenge Sorrento. Kirby is on deck.
Sorrento's been swinging a hot bat this week since Wednesday. There's Kirby. And that's a base hit. Here comes Espinosa. Here comes the throw from Puckett. He swings, and Cleveland has won the game. It all started when a man who had not made an error this year made an error. And Espinosa made it to second. And then Sorrento, with 2 down, got the big hit. And Kirby Puckett gave it all he had. And made it close, trying to nail his former minor league roommate at the plate. But he was there. And the Cleveland Indians, with that run, win it 10-9. Eddie Murray, Kenny Lofton, Ruben Amaro, all there to lead the cheering. And for Knobloch, a bitter disappointment. A terrible way to have his errorless streak come to an end. The beat rolls on for the Cleveland Indians atop the Central. We'll see you next week. John Miller for Joe Morgan. Good night, everyone.